All right, a Friday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you a lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. We'll talk with Matt Derrick an hour from now. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Get his thoughts on Rashee Rice, what options the Chiefs may have at wide receiver from his perspective, if they even need to go that route. Should they stay with Rashee Rice? Should they give him another chance? Does he think that there's going to be a suspension on the horizon for Rashee Rice? If there is, would that constitute a second offender in the personal conduct policy? Is there maybe a lifetime achievement award suspension from the NFL in an accumulation of things where you've got the issue with the photographer that may have been a misunderstanding or a false accusation, and then you have the accusations on social media from, the mother of his children that the NFL said there wasn't enough evidence to prove something happened. Not that there was no evidence whatsoever. They said there wasn't enough evidence, and there weren't criminal charges filed. Typically, they are more hands-off there. Now this, do they give him a lifetime achievement award of here's another suspension of personal conduct policy because we are looking at it in the totality of what's going on, and you continue to be in the news for the NFL, and now we have an actual player sitting in jail for 30 days. Yeah. And guess what? When he's released, there'll be a lot of cameras right there when he walks out of that county jail. There'll be a lot of cameras there watching him leave county jail, and this is an NFL player. So,
do you think he walks by and smirks?
I don't think he'll talk with the media.
Okay.
I don't think he would do that unless he has a great game in county jail. Unless he has like 4 or 5 touchdowns, great receptions, and a lot of yards, then he'll certainly go out there. And
Burt Reynolds was there. Burt Reynolds
awesome.
and Adam Sandler.
Really
it was
weird.
crazy.
The odds that Adam Sandler was there. That's cool. But we'll talk with Matt Derrick, amongst other things. And we'll talk with Matt Derrick about not just about those things. But, we heard from Aaron Borgman earlier this week. I want to get Matt Derrick's thoughts on that with the graft that takes a full year to heal, which would put it into December for Mahomes to be quote-unquote 100%. Is that the wrong terminology we're using? What terminology would he use? And at what percentage would he think the Chiefs would feel comfortable putting Patrick Mahomes out there to play week 1, given what he means to the team, and a lesser percentage of Patrick Mahomes is a higher than 100% of somebody else? Can you do 130% then? Can I go?
Well, yes, that's how math works.
Yeah, so if Justin Fields gave 150%, he'd be close to Patrick Mahomes.
Well,
is that what you're saying?
You can't give 150%. You can have these are how numbers work.
I don't get it. I think if he gave himself 150% of ability, he could maybe get to Patrick Mahomes.
But no, like 150% of Justin Fields could be 100% of Patrick, right?
But what if he just works harder?
Yeah, but
what if he works 100? Can he get to Mahomes if he were to work 150%?
Damn it, Jason! You had a rant yesterday. My turn.
Now you're just going to be staring at me doing the right way. I feel like this is personal. I feel like you're attacking me. I didn't run to second base really hard, although I do want a pat on the back if I do that. But Matt Derrick will be our guest. Mick Schaefer, we'll hang out with him coming up in the show as well. And then coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, we won't talk Royals or Chiefs, but we'll talk a little baseball. Dustin Sinnett from Olathe Northwest and Jeff Strickland from Mill Valley. Used to coach together for a long time, both making state, winning their regional, getting ready to play on Tuesday with the 8 finalists in 6A that are playing for the state championship. So we're going to talk with them.
Will it be like a WWE
I hope so.
style, like face-off?
That's the plan. Because if they both win, then they will face off against each other in Wichita
that'd be great.
for the semifinals.
What's up, brother? Your team's going down.
Right. I feel like we tell Jeff Strickland, it's like, do you have an advantage that you've got Bo Peterson on your team? Like, when you play against Olathe Northwest, are you allowed to have Bo play?
What are you going to do when Mill Valley comes for you, brother?
But also Mick Schaefer will be hanging out with us in the 1 o'clock hour.
So I got to be the Olathe Northeast?
Northwest.
Mm-hmm. I have to be the Olathe Northwest stand then because we know Mick will be,
He'll be
the Mill Valley guy.
Yeah. Although Dustin Sinnett coached at Mill Valley for a long time. So that should be fun. I'm hoping it is fun and something to give us time to not talk about Rashee Rice and the Kansas City Royals. I want to, 913-912-4810, I want to bring this up as it relates to the Royals and what we've seen so far. Because there's been a common evidence used around the Royals that has been sort of a common phrase of why there's a chance that this could turn around, even though they're 10 games under 500, in the fact that they went 9-2. This is still a team, while they're 10 games under 500, went 9-2 in an 11-game stretch. That is proof of concept that this team can win and can get hot and can get back on the right track. Now, if you add the 2 losses there, put them at 32, you add the 9 wins, put them at 29, they're still 3 games under 500, even if they have their best stretch of baseball that they have had this year, this 11-game stretch out of 50 that apparently is worth hanging your hat on, as opposed to the other 39 games in which they are 11-28. We have 39 games of evidence of them going 11-28. We have 11 games of them going 9-2. Yet so much of the not optimism, because there isn't much around this, so much of the can this turn around is based on the 9-2 and based on what our preseason thoughts and predictions were around this team and how good we thought they could be. And I don't think there's any debate. Maybe there is debate. Not in my mind. This is one of, and I think there are 2 seasons that come to mind for me, one of, if not the most underachieving and disappointing and bad seasons in Royals baseball that I can remember.
2016 probably stands out after the World Series.
To me, it's 2004, because 2016 they had won a World Series, and I kind of felt like it was just floating through life.
16 and 17, where to me, where it was, who are they? They kind of sold, but they weren't really buying. It was.
But 04 was coming off the 2003 500 over 500 record, and they were picked to win the division. First game of the season, they have the crazy comeback against the White Sox and the walk-off, and it was like, here we go. This is the team. This team is so much fun to watch. This is going to be great. And by June, they had traded Carlos Beltran, and it was just a disaster of a season. And it was the second 100-loss season for the Royals, and they would go on to have 2 other 100-loss seasons over the next 3 years. And it was like, this was supposed to be a fun summer, and it was awful. It was terrible. This was supposed to be a fun summer. I thought this team could get to high 80s, maybe 90 wins. We talked about what happens if Cags and Carter are OPSing at this certain number. How good are they? Oh, my God, they're going to be like a 90-win team. Because
and they kind of are.
They kind of are. And that's where I look at it as this is one of, if not, that I can remember and really lived through. I know 1990 when they went out and bought some relievers and things like that. And it was supposed to be a good season. It wasn't. Some people will look at that. But to me, in my lifetime, 2004, the big build-up for that, opening day, how amazing that was. And then this year, because they were supposed to be good, compete, maybe win a division, and it has been disastrous.
Well, and that's why, and I agree with you, by the way, for both 04 and now. You're right. 16 and 17, you got some grace because you had won a World.
I was floating through life in baseball.
You're still high. Yeah. You're still feeling the.
It was like Rashee Rice. I mean, I was just going through life high, just floating. You know what I mean?
This is the most disappointing, and that's where I have even my frustrations more so of, because I do think this is still a fairly talented team. I know even with the injuries that have been sustained on the pitching side, they haven't really had any injuries on the hitting side. India, but he wasn't really going to be part of your he was going to be maybe your 7-8 hitter.
Yeah. The thing is, though, they paid him $8 million because they expected him to have a bounce-back year.
And I was semi-higher on India than most, probably. But where I still find myself even more disappointed is Bobby Witt Jr. is having an MVP-caliber season. Cags and Carter have been good players, fine to good. And pretty much everyone else who you were counting on has been a nightmare. I mean, Garcia's now OPS in under 700. 699. But guess what? That's under 700. So now we look back and say, was last year the outlier? Was last year the outlier? Was that his career year? As I know they were talking about in the program yesterday, was that the career year? Probably, but we semi-knew that. But could he be close to that? Everyone's going to have their best year at some point, and you don't know when it's going to be.
Right.
But we probably could have guessed last year may have been a career year for Garcia. But was he going to revert back to the years prior? Well, we're getting closer to that. And we knew Perez might have a slight regression.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting older, and we never know when the cliff is going to happen for him.
But the metrics last year were phenomenal. They were. And he is starting to pick it up a little bit now, if we're being fair and transparent. Salvador is starting to actually pick it up a little bit. I know it sounds hilarious that he's OPS in 626. We're trying to give him some flowers here. But let's be real. It was real bad.
Yeah.
Real bad.
It was rough.
The real big issue, at least offensive, that I keep going back to, and I feel bad because I like the guy. We talk about accountability. And I can tell you this much. No one feels worse or is trying harder to fix it than him. But at the same time, it is him. It's Vinny. Vinny is OPSing at 604. 604.
It's tough to talk about the Royals and anything that is falling short of what we thought they would be without starting first and foremost with Vinny.
If he was a nearly league average bat, let's say even league average bat overall and league average with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
This team probably has 3-4 more wins. I know it's not how wins above replacement work. Like I understand the thought process.
In my mind, it is.
I get it. I know, but
a hit here or there drives in a run or two in a different spot, and they don't lose a one-run game.
Or Alex Lang isn't coming in. You're throwing Urseg there, right? Like
right. Absolutely.
There's a lot of different situations and scenarios, and I get it. It's the butterfly effect in all of this, and it's hard to try and say this is all on one guy's shoulders. But the majority is on one guy's shoulders. And that's why, again, I think we all feel bad. We all like Vinny. Yeah. He seems to be a phenomenal guy. He's great in the clubhouse. He's a leader on this team. He's fun at the ballpark. And we've seen what he's done in the past. But I've always had concerns with Vinny. Because it almost always feels like his production has never equaled what we in Kansas City value him as. It feels like our production of what he actually is a average hitting first baseman. Like a first baseman. I know this bug is
a gnat.
I know it's
getting ready to smack it.
He started to come over to me, and I thought Jason was going to smack my dome. You got it, dude.
Dang it, I missed it.
I thought you had it. But the point still remains.
You beginner luck. I need the chopsticks so I can catch it like Danielson.
But
look high, always look high.
Like last year, Vinny was really good.
Yeah, I did swing at that one. I swung at what I thought was a fastball. That thing curved and hit the ground.
Like, Vinny was really good last year. There's no denying 32 home runs, but still his OPS as a first baseman was 798. Like, we're not talking Kyle Schwarber. And again, but I think at times in Kansas City we've almost viewed him more in that, not Kyle Schwarber, but viewed him as like a legit almost star.
30 and 100.
But his career OPS is 769. You play first base. That's right in line with what you should be doing.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. I'm not arguing that. But, like, I feel like at times we've viewed Vinny as a major building block star. He's not that. He's a good player, a good piece. But he's hitting 194.
Is that good?
He's a guy that we said when he came up, he wasn't going to struggle like this because his swing approach, his plate discipline was never going to allow him to fall into these extended slumps. It's 50 games. He's slumped for 50 games.
By the way, I can't for the life of me find the numbers that I put out there with Jack and
I was trying to think of what
and Carter, because I know it was something where around
760,
something around there in OPSing that, but I can't find it. I've been looking while I've been chasing this gnat around.
But do you think we've had a maybe overvalued view of Vinny? Because I think that we have. I think some people have had an overvalued view of Vinny.
Yeah. But I think, when you said that we all love him, it reminded me of Top Gun. Not in that, he passed, but it was like Iceman, to Maverick. I'm sorry about Vinny's bat this year. We all liked him. Because that's like, we love Vinny. It's great. He seems like an amazing clubhouse guy, and I think he is. But he'd be the first one to tell you, and he'd be telling the truth, that he's a big reason as to why this team is struggling at this point. Maybe he turns it around. Maybe it's too late for him to turn it around. But here's the point that, in the common phrase that's being used with this Royals team, that even if they go through and have their best stretch of baseball over the next 11 games that they have had this year, they're still 3 games under 500. But here's the point. This best stretch of baseball that they've had in being 10-1 over those 11 games. Oh, I'm sorry, they were 10-1 is what the Royals in 2023 did when they lost 106 games. They had a 10-1 stretch in 2023. That's right. Sorry, I got my years mixed up. 9-2, we keep hanging our hat on. This team went 9-2. This team went 9-2. But I look back in 2023, the Royals lost 106 games. They had a 10-1 stretch. And then, of course, the 2025 White Sox last year that lost 102 games, they actually had a 9-2 stretch. The 121 lost Chicago White Sox a couple of years ago had an 8-3 stretch.
Yeah.
And if we look back at every other 100-loss season for the Royals, in Royals history, in 2019, they had an 8-3 stretch. In 2018, they had an 8-1 stretch. 2006, they had a 9-3 stretch. 2005, they had an 11-4 stretch. 2002, they had a 10-1 stretch. 2004, the best stretch of baseball they had was 7-4. There we did. We found it. We found it. We found the 100-loss season of Royals and recent teams that had a worse stretch of baseball than the Royals 9-2 by a considerable margin, because 11 games, it's 2 games worse, not like the 8-3 that there is. But there's also a 10-1, a 10-1, a 9-2 out of that stretch. So there's 3 other seasons in which there was a 100-loss, 106-loss, and a 102-loss team that had a 9-2 stretch or 10-1 stretch over 11 games. And this, through the first 50 games, is what we continue to point to and say, that's evidence that they can turn it around. Or it's evidence that literally any team in baseball, no matter how good or bad you are, can have an 11-game stretch where you win 8 or 9 games. The evidence is there. 02, 05, 06, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25 for the White Sox. All had stretches that were either just below or better than the 9-2 stretch for the Royals. So why do we continue to hang our hat on a 9-2 stretch? Because it's the only thing we can grasp at right now to say, that was a good stretch of baseball. They swept the Mariners. They can play good baseball.
You nailed it, I think, in the first couple minutes of it's because of what we expected.
Yeah.
Going into this year, we all expected them to be good, and so when we saw a glimpse of them playing good baseball, we say that's who they are, and that this is the outlier. When, again, the outlier is probably the fact they went 9-2.
Right now it is. We have 39 games of 11-28 baseball, and we have 11 games of 9-2, and yet not all, but there are some, and myself included, I have certainly been guilty of this, of saying, well, this team went 9-2. You know they can play good baseball. They just have to find that stretch again. But all these other bad teams had stretches like that.
So, real quick, and this is not trying to just bash Vinny, but it's just, again, trying to lay the viewpoint of, I think he's a really good player, but I don't think he's the guy. I mean, Bobby's the guy you build around, and Vinny's a really good piece when he did what he did last year. But again, kind of like Garcia was last year the outlier for Vinny. And so far, again, it seems like last year was probably the outlier for both those guys, and that made the Royals want to try and buy and say those guys are going to continue to do what they're going to do. And then when they regressed a little bit, a lot of bit hitting so far this year, this is what we're seeing. Vinny last year, just to kind of, again, try to lay the groundwork of, I think, at times people overvalued, even last year, because I'm going to his career year. His OPS in baseball was the 46th best. Still good. I'm not. That's still really good.
Top 50 hitter.
Top 50 hitter. But at first base, you need to be.
Yeah.
He's behind guys like, this is going to surprise some people, Alec Burleson. Did anyone think Alec Burleson was going to be ahead of Vinny?
No.
Rhino,
This is last year? Or?
This is last year.
Okay, yeah.
These are qualified hitters.
Yeah.
Qualified. So you had to play a certain amount of games, right?
Yeah.
Alec Burleson, behind Ryan O'Hearn, Seiya Suzuki, Josh Naylor, Ben Rice, who had a really good year as well. I mean, there's just, again, Tyler Soderstrom. I mean, Jorge Polanco for Seattle. Again, I'm not saying Vinny is a bad player. I'm saying that's the category he's in.
Yeah.
He's in the category of Alec Burleson and Ryan O'Hearn, who, again, good pieces.
Yeah.
But I don't think those teams are sitting here going, you know what? Ryan O'Hearn's is our number 3 hitter. He's our star.
Well, I mean, the Pirates paid him to be.
Yeah, but it's the Pirates.
I know, and they're excelling this year.
They are. But
but yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is when you look at these teams, those aren't the names you're sitting here going, yeah, we're building around Alec Burleson.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think, and this is a good question to ask, and we'll do this and we'll talk about it on the other side of the break. How secure is Vinny as part of the core players that you're not moving, because these are the players that will be in Royals uniforms, jerseys worn in the stands for a team that wins a division? And if the Royals, and what I think they are, it's kind of like a car that you're thinking, do you stay with it or sell it? You're upside down on the payments. And I think right now the Royals are upside down on the value of Vinny Pasquantino. So I want to get into that and explain what I mean by the upside down on the value, like if you're trying to sell a car or you want to trade it in or stay with it, and it may be a car that just isn't really good enough right now for what you need to do, but you may be stuck. We'll talk about what that means on the other side of the break. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I love Rob DeSell on Twitter. We have conversations many times, and he is a very optimistic person, and I like that. I do, especially when it comes to Mizzou, because that's hard to be. That's hard to be, but God bless him. But his tweet says, apparently it's the first year you guys have watched baseball. So far, they've sucked, but you act like it's impossible for the Royals to get back in this thing. They're talented. They'll have a couple of good streaks. While you're looking at the Royals' records, see how many of those had 2 runs of 9-2 or better, because that is what you need to compare if they have a second one. I'll be shocked if they don't have at least one more. Right, but they haven't had one yet.
Yeah.
I'm saying at this point, all we have to go off of is that. And nobody said they can't get back in it, because the American League is trash. Yeah. Nobody said they can't get back in it. Point being, specifically and strictly looking at, hey, this team went 9-2, therefore it is proof that they are a good team. All I'm saying is that in and of itself is not proof of a good team. It's proof that baseball happens, because even bad teams have 9-2 stretches. Now, a lot of those teams that I mentioned did not have near the talent this Royals team does. So those teams had no chance of getting back in it and no chance of winning and going to the playoffs, where this team does. But the issue is, with this team also comes a lot of ifs. Well, if Cole Reagans gets back and pitches like, that's an if along with an and. If Cole Reagans gets back and pitches like you hope he will. If Chris Bubich
doesn't get injured again.
Right, and stays healthy, right. If Chris Bubich returns. If Vinny turns it around offensively. If Matt Strom returns, if the other pieces in the bullpen pitch at the level you hope they can, like Alex Lang pitching close to what he's done recently rather than the beginning of the season. Avila pitching like he has the last 4 outings, hasn't allowed a run in his last 4 outings, and looked good in the 3 innings in which he backed up Bailey Falter. That turned out to be a good, quote-unquote, bullpen game with an opener and then Avila. In fact, it may be Avila starting the next go-around. We'll see. We'll see Cameron, Kolick, and Lugo this weekend against the Mariners. And maybe it's a good thing that the Royals will see the best from the Mariners, because by missing some of the other team's best pitchers, they haven't exactly went out and performed and succeeded. Every single day the Royals go to the ballpark and play, I'm hoping that's the day that things turn around. Every single day. I hope that's the case, because I don't want to be talking about selling over the next 2 months. And who should they sell? Who should they buy? Because we get into, as I said, I think the Royals with Vinny Pasquantino are upside down on the value, because you want him to be a key part of your team moving forward. You want him to be somebody, because how loved he is in the clubhouse, how fun he is, the personality, right? All of those things that he brings to the game, he brings enjoyment to the game. And you need that over 162. You can't have everybody being stale. You got to find a way to have some fun along the way. It's a business. It's a profession. The guys work their tails off. They get there early. They go through their warm-up routines, their infield routines, the batting practice. They're creatures of habit. But you also got to find a way to have some fun. Vinny seems to bring that, although I don't know how much he can bring that when he himself is struggling to this level. And they're losing, because Team Italy, he was struggling, but they were winning. And he was having fun and saying, look, I suck, but this has been so much fun. So because they were winning, if they just went there and lost all the games, I bet he wouldn't have had nearly as much fun, because he'd be thinking about the losses and his responsibility in the losses. So I get that. And that can almost start to build on itself. You're losing and you're not playing well, then you start to blame yourself. You get in your own head. You get more frustrated. But the value for Vinny, and what I'm saying is, in them being upside down on it, is if they were to move him, there's no way they get value back for what he would mean to the team and the clubhouse and the players around it. So you're not getting full value for Vinny, but you're also not getting good enough play right now from Vinny. So your car is breaking down along the way, but you owe much more on your payment on your car than it's worth if you were to trade it in and get a new one. You're upside down on it. You're not getting the value for Vinny because nobody is going to look at what he is in the clubhouse and value that to come in and be a playoff team to the level that you value it. It's almost like, well, no, this piece that I want to sell you, this has been in my family for 100 years. It's got personal meaning. Yeah, I don't care about your personal meaning. I care about the value.
It's not been in my family 100 years.
Exactly.
That matters.
I'm buying the
nothing to
antique.
me. Yeah.
I'm buying the value of it, and teams are going to look at it and buy the value of Vinny, which can also include some of those things, but he's not in their clubhouse right now. So I don't think they get the value for him, so I don't think they move him. But right now, playing him every day has been a real net negative for this team. Not knowing what he's giving, maybe they're 20 wins because Vinny's on the team. Maybe it's 15 if Vinny's not on the team and they have a better guy, hitting a better at first base, but he doesn't have the fun personality of Vinny. I don't know what that offers. I don't think personality offers 5 WAR over the course of a season. But right now, the value doesn't match what he needs to be, and this team winning a division was part of Vinny being 30 and 100.
And again, just to the point of even a trade, 25, he was in the same category as Ryan O'Hearn and Alec Burleson. I don't think people are saying those guys.
Imagine if they would have had a guy like Ryan O'Hearn in their system or on their team.
24, he was actually 10th in OPS, actually higher because first base was even worse that year. He had a worse OPS, but the names he was around and behind, Nathaniel Lowe, Jake Berger, basically tied with Yandy Diaz, Carlos Santana. The point I'm making here is these aren't guys that you're sitting here going, oh yeah, that's a franchise piece, or that's a guy that you build around, or there's a guy that you're getting a lot back for if you trade.
The Yankees core 4.
Yeah. But so, and that's a little bit what I'm trying to reiterate here is he's a good player. But if you trade Vinny, are we sitting here going, if the Royals would have traded for Alec Burleson, we've all been, oh my gosh, the Royals, there's their bat.
Right.
And again, they're different style of players. He has a better average. I get all of it. There's little different styles. Point remains, even if the Royals would have traded back for Ryan O'Hearn, are we sitting here going, yeah, now they're fixed?
They'd be a lot better with Ryan O'Hearn's bat in this lineup.
They would.
OPSing 800.
I'm not arguing that, but
Ryan O'Hearn came up to the Royals a year and a half too early. If he would have progressed a little bit slower, he would have been in the organization with the newer sort of what we've seen offensive production from players, because he came up with the big leagues, sucked, and then went to Baltimore and has been better. So maybe if it was a couple of years later, I don't know, maybe it would have worked out.
The issue with Vinny,
I can't say for a fact because some of these guys have not worked out when they got to the big leagues.
The issue with Vinny is I don't know how bad that back is still bothering him or not.
That's true. It's a good point.
Was it a week ago?
It's a really good point.
A week and a half ago when he had that swing and it looked really awkward because his bat speed is still down 3 miles an hour. We're now 50 games in.
And if that's the point, then, man, you
got to sit him. You got to IL.
Sucks,
but
because I don't like the options at first base not named Vinny. But if the back is hindering him, and then it's also then getting into his head about the performance, it's tough to say, you're putting that guy out every single day, OPSing 604 and getting on base at 280. Like, that's not his batting average. That's his on-base percentage. Like, he's slugging 326. Like, that's not his on-base percentage. That's his slugging. And if the back is an issue, then you got to rest him and let the back heal. And when he returns, hopefully the team is playing better baseball. And you get that boost from Vinny. And maybe his bat is a little bit better because the back isn't nearly as bad. I don't know, but I think it's worth acknowledging the back issue.
He's graded out as a relatively poor defensive first baseman this year.
And I think there are a couple of big mistakes that have been made.
And sure, when you're 50 games in, but still, that's almost a third of a season.
I know.
It's not like we're 20 games in and you're sitting here going, all right, well, it's really being out, like the bat speed, for example, still at 69.6. Well, earlier in the year, or it's the bad back. No, we're 50 games in now. Like, we have a larger sample size, and it's still down. The metrics underlying don't scream he's getting unlucky.
Yeah.
His expected batting average is 226.
So he's about 30 points unlucky.
But when you're that low, only a
I
couple
know.
hits will change.
That's
That
exactly
if
right.
you're 380, like Bobby's in line with what he's done.
Yeah. What's the expected batting average again?
226.
226.
It's 32
Okay.
points.
Yeah, so 32 points. I need to look this up and see what it would be.
How many hits would it be? Like
yes.
4 hits?
Yeah.
38 divided by 175?
It'd be 6 more hits.
6 more hits. Yeah, and that's not. We're not
So,
sitting here going, yeah, he's
6 more hits over the course of 50 games. 6 more hits over the course of 201 plate appearances. Doesn't say that this guy is incredibly unlucky.
And so
or just even unlucky.
I appreciate if he's trying to fight through this injury and he's trying to grind it out, and but at some point it's clearly hurting the team.
Yeah.
Even if it's Nick Lofton in there or some. I mean, I don't honestly, I don't care who, because what you're getting right now is unplayable.
It just sucks, man, because
we all root for
he's
him.
such a fun dude to root for, and he's one of the guys that even when he's struggling, I'm rooting for him to have success. Like, please have success, like him personally. Whereas there are plenty of other guys just like, oh, he's doing well. That's it. It helps the team.
Yes,
Agreed. Don't really care about that guy personally doing well, but it helps the team, so I'll root for the jersey. Vinny's a guy that I root for the jersey, but I also root for the guy.
Correct.
As well. It's nice when those two things come together and you're rooting for the guy and it's also really helping the jersey. Right now that isn't the case. And hopefully that turns around soon. But what I find to be the biggest issue moving forward is the number of ifs that we talk about with this team for them to get hot and play good enough baseball to get back in it. I mean, they're only, I say only, but they're 4.5 games out of the wild card. They've got a lot of teams in front of them that they'd have to pass. But if Reagans returns, if Bubic returns, if you can get something from Carlos Estevez, if Matt Strom returns, if the bullpen pitches at a higher level, if Vinny returns to swinging, if Salvi stays hitting more like this, if Carter can, get, back on a hotter stretch and not bat 234, if Cags can continue playing this way all season long, I'm not even asking for more. 750 OPS, I would have settled out of court before the season started at a 750 OPS because I went back and looked at the numbers. I found it. And I said, what if Cags is batting 230, he's batting 253, Carter bats 250, he's batting 234, so almost like flip those. If Cags was getting on base at 310, he's getting on base at 319. If Carter was getting on base at 340, he's getting on base at 325. If Cags slugged 450, he's slugging 432. And if Carter slugged 420, he's slugging 404. If they both somehow had a 760 OPS, what's the record for this team? And most of us were like, well, they probably win the division. They can win 90 games. Well, Cags has a 750 OPS and Carter has a 730 OPS. It's pretty damn close to what we said that we felt would result in this team taking another step because we didn't expect so many other people to slide back. And that's unfortunate. And if these guys stay doing this and the other guys advance to their expected level, then can they play 900 baseball the rest of the way? Well, let's do some quick math here.
900 baseball.
90 win baseball. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, my goodness,
Yes.
Jason, you are a bold man.
555 baseball the rest of the way, which is, roughly 90 wins. So 555 the rest of the way would mean 62 wins. That would put them at 82. So a 90-win stretch. So a 90-win team over the next 112 games would put him at 82 wins. Does that get him into the wild card? I mean, the way it's pacing right now, it does.
Yeah, right now.
It doesn't get you a division, but it gets you at least in contention for the wild card. But that's the thing, is they have to play at that stretch. And the question would be, and the answer would be, if these guys stay doing this, because I don't think we were off in saying if Carter and Cags do this as everyday players in the lineup, you're adding two different 750 OPSs or 760 OPSs, to one in right field and one as a backup catcher / DH, when that was Hunter Renfroe and Freddie Fermin last year. It's a massive improvement, plus the defense from Cags in right field. I don't think I don't think we're out over our skis and saying, well, this team can win a division and maybe win 90 games.
Agreed.
So there's the optimism moving forward, is if these guys just stay at this pace they're on right now and the other guys find their level, Vinny doesn't have to end up being an 800 OPS guy. But is there a chance that he can OPS close to 800 just the rest of the way? Like, he doesn't have to OPS 900 to get to this is what the back of the baseball card says, because that's not necessarily what it is. Like, if you have a coin flip and it comes up heads 15 times in a row, tails is not going to be 15. It just means that from 16 to 100, it's expected to be split. From that point forward,
correct,
it should be 50-50 the rest of the way. He's OPSing 600 right now through the first 47 games for him, 50 games for the Royals. I don't think for him it's, well, can he end up at a 780 OPS, therefore he has to OPS at this? No. Just be that Vinny guy the rest of the way, which probably isn't going to result in 30 and 100, but is it a 30 and a 100 pace for the next 112 games?
You can get to 20 and 80.
I mean, yeah. For the next 112 games, can he pace for what would have been a 30 and a 100 season?
Correct.
That's what you need from him. Carter and Cag staying on their same pace, maybe improve it, but I'm not going to get greedy. I'm not even getting greedy with Vinny and saying OPS at 900 to get to the back of your baseball card. To me, I'm saying the back of your baseball card says you're this type of player. This may be a down year for Vinny when we look at the end and go, man, he only ended up with like 21 home runs and like 85 RBIs. And we go, yeah, but that last 80 games was unbelievable to get there. And he played like Vinny those last 80 games, and they snuck into the wild card, and he was a big reason. He's got a track record of being that guy. But it's a great point, Sterling. That track record is moot if he's being hindered by a back injury.
Correct.
Because that track record is a healthy Vinny, not a back injury bothering him every day Vinny. If that's the case, then that lowers the percentage of him getting back to playing at his level. More Zone next.
Watching the Royals every day might not be good for your health, but me checking FanDuel every day sure enough is, because this is your reminder to check in daily. Every day during the NBA playoffs, FanDuel is serving up a happy hour. You know me, big happy hour guy, but I don't even have to go to a bar for this happy hour. I don't wake up a little groggy, a little hungover after this happy hour. It's greatness, and it's all right there on FanDuel. We're talking special drops you don't want to miss. Take your shot, not shots at a bar, shots on FanDuel. From profit boost to bonus bets and more. Check for a new reward every single day of the NBA playoffs, and don't miss your shot to get a little extra out of the action. Last night, I was wrong. It happens. Hey, Jason. Okay? That was pretty good of him. I'll give him credit. But I thought the Cavs at halftime, I took them at the plus 6.5. I thought, you know what? The Cavs, they're going to bounce back after that Game 1 collapse. Wrong. Sterling, you dummy. Didn't matter. I still had fun. It made the game more enjoyable having a little extra something right there on FanDuel. And a game tonight, OKC and the Spurs. So you make the call. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, wrap it up this hour. Looking forward to our conversation in the next hour with Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer coming up later on in the show about 12:30. And then very excited and looking forward to changing up the conversation from Royals and Rasheed to some other baseball, but some fun local baseball with Dustin Stinnett from Olathe Northwest and Jeff Strickland from Mill Valley as the regionals wrapped up and the final 8 teams in the 6A state championship now decided as the quarters will be played on Tuesday, and Olathe Northwest getting ready to face off against Free State, and Mill Valley taking on Shawnee Mission South in the quarterfinals, both of those being played here in Blue Valley. We'll do that at 1 o'clock. More Zone next. Hanging out on a Friday edition of The Zone. Memorial Day weekend. Matt Derrick hanging out with us. Matt, any plans for Memorial Day this weekend? 3-day weekend for some in sales, a 5-day weekend. I'm joking, sales. I'm kidding. They're actually working. I shouldn't say actually working. They are working today. The problem is, so many other businesses are not working. So, any plans for you, Matt?
Not that I know of. Usually, we do have hot dogs over the weekend at
Nice.
some point.
Love hot dogs.
And,
Gotta
it's
have hot
a
dogs.
little bit like, trying to find a turkey on Wednesday at Thanksgiving and everything.
Are the hot dogs and hot dog buns out right now?
We're a Schmecka's family, so we need the Schmecka's hot dogs and
Yes.
everything. That's
Okay.
our favorite. And sometimes I wait until the last minute, and then I'm kind of stuck and everything. Like
Yeah. So you're waiting for the big storm to come in, and then you got to go get your milk and bread.
And, I need to make the run today and see
Yeah.
make sure they got some Schmecka's hot dogs and everything.
There you go. Yeah. So that's a cool little tradition. I didn't realize this until hearing Jeff Penner this morning. Did you know that Memorial Day weekend is the wettest weekend of the year, on average every year?
I did not know.
I thought
that.
April
That is-
showers bring May flowers, and this is damn near
weird,
June.
Wild stuff.
Yes,
I
it's
did
great.
not know that.
It's wacky. It's wild. Because it's not the same weekend every single May. Like, isn't this the earliest it could be? Is Memorial Day the earliest, being the last Monday is the 25th or whatever? Because next Monday is the first day of June. Anyway, doesn't matter.
You're asking questions I have no idea.
That's right. Well,
about.
Thanksgiving this year is going to be on a Thursday.
The last Monday or is the fourth Monday?
Fourth Monday, last Monday, whatever it is. But I did look at the NFL schedule, which told me that Thanksgiving is on a Thursday this year, which is pretty cool. That
Thanksgiving's on a Thursday?
Yeah, this year it is. We'll have to see what next year is. But I didn't realize everybody goes to the lake, right? It's the lake. It's the pool's opening, but it's the wettest weekend of the year. That kind of sucks. It's supposed to rain most of the day today, but then I think it lifts.
I think we'll be fine.
I think we'll be
If
fine.
this messes with my golf, I'm gonna be.
You
Yeah,
can
it's-
play golf in the rain. You can't just
Not really, not
you can't go
very
swimming
well.
at the pool.
Tomorrow should
Not
be
as
fine.
fun.
Sunday should be great. Monday should be great.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does not look like the Royals will have any rainouts this weekend. That is
Well, I don't
unfortunate.
know if that's unfortunate or fortunate because it just means there'll be more beatings later.
Yeah, that's true. If you can get all of these games pushed to later on in the season, when you have an idea if you're sellers or buyers or how you're playing, that'd be great. Because right now, if you're losing, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, you don't really want to rain out though and be having to play out the string in a doubleheader in August.
Yeah, you're right. If you're barreling towards 100, yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
Or if this is the Yankees, this is the only trip for the Yankees for the rest of the year. I mean, then you're
think
having to
so, yeah.
and go and play a doubleheader on a Thursday off day or something.
That's a good point, yeah, because then they'll actually be in contention for a postseason berth and things like that. Matt Derrick is with us. 41 is the Mike Chiefs Digest. You know, when it rains, it pours for the Chiefs sometimes in the offseason. It's 3 consecutive off seasons, all of it stemming from the same incident, but 3 consecutive, well, I guess this could be another incident with the same incident. The original sin of the speed racing 2 years ago in the off season of 2024. Last year, the unknown of when will this be adjudicated? Then he agrees to the plea deal. Then we get the suspension may not happen until like the 4th week of the season, and then you're going to appeal, and who knows at that point, and maybe he's not even suspended in 2025, because if you appeal and do that, then they want to suspend him into the playoffs, and then like a week later, it was like he suspended the first 6 games. And now we go into this season, and here we are again with Rashee Rice. It feels like it's just constant, even though had that first incident not happened, or had he not wrecked and just speeding around, although he might have had another racing incident since then, that could have been worse than that. Last year wouldn't have been an issue, and this year would not have been an issue for Rashee Rice. So how do you think the Chiefs take all of this in the, man, it's just so tiresome him being in the news, yet for these specific things, it's been from that fateful day when he got in the car and decided to speed on the highway with friends and race.
And you're right. I mean, in the sense that obviously, hey, what you went through last season and the suspension, it still stemmed from the original incident. And this, you make a great point. It's still stemming from it, but at the same point, it's another
Yes.
separate act.
Yeah.
But
it's an act that if that didn't happen, smoking weed, he'd be fine. A lot of players do that, but he's not allowed to.
But he's not allowed to. So choosing to do so, that's a separate new problem and everything. And then you add in everything else. I mean, I know I'd forgotten about the photographer incident, and and hey, there was a he said, she said, and we don't know. There were no charges, nothing, and so there's no penalty from it. So maybe it was a misunderstanding. Obviously, there's been the allegations from his. I don't know if she's ex or completely yet. I mean, it gets a
mother
little
of his children.
complicated. But from a partner.
Yeah.
So the whole thing's really complicated. I mean, and it's. I don't know. We don't know because some of these things have not been adjudicated or haven't all the facts out and everything like that. So we really don't know the whole situation. Even in this, we only know parts of the situation about what led to this. But again, you go back to actions and responsibilities. And I know you had the former judge and the professor on yesterday talking about this and everything. And I thought they did a really good job of breaking it all down.
You listen to us?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Steve Lieben from UMKC.
There you go.
Was really good.
And I wonder what would have happened. What would have been the decision about the probation violation had he already served his 30 days? Or at least a good chunk of it.
So maybe he was actually holding this in his back pocket.
That's a great point.
I mean, if he'd already
if he already served, then what?
It's like if I fail, I'll just have to serve this. If I served this already, now what? That's interesting.
I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that as like that was a strategy or anything, but out of the standpoint of had he shown that he had a commitment to taking care of his business, if he'd done 20 days already. Would the sentence have been just, 10 days, rest of your sentence, and you're done? If you'd done all 30 days, would it have been like, okay, well, you're already in your 30, so, hey, you got a slap on the wrist this time.
We'll add 6 months to your probation.
We're going to put you in the jail over the weekend. Yeah, I mean, would it have been a different penalty rather than, nope, you're going to go do your 30 days now, son.
Because he's just simply doing what he was already ordered to do. They have just taken away his right or agreement to serve the 30 at his discretion, leisure, at his time.
At his sports or leisure.
At his sports or leisure, yes, because the leisure in jail while trying to play some sports to boot. And one of the things I did ask the former judge and now professor there at UMKC and dean of the School of Law was, would it have mattered to you as a judge if this person comes in, has had 10 months over the 5 years you're giving them to serve 30 days, and in these first 10 months hasn't served a day? Would that have mattered to you? Would that have been like, all right, you're not taking this seriously? And he said, if it was me, no, because we agreed that he could serve it over 5 years. So why would it be mad if he didn't serve it in the first 10 days or first 10 months?
Yeah.
That's not what we agreed to.
Yeah.
So we agreed 5 years. That would not change my view at all. It wouldn't say that he's not committed or more committed because, again, if we needed him to serve it over 10 months, we would have said 10 months. But we gave him 5 years, and because he hasn't served a day, doesn't matter. He can serve 30 days 5 years from now or 4 years from now. He can do that. He goes, so that wouldn't affect it. I sort of looked at it and said, boy, the judge has to be pissed because are you showing a commitment that you are wanting to be back on the straight and narrow if you've been off since January 5th and you haven't served a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, anything like that? Is that showing that you aren't taking it seriously? And to his credit as a judge, he said, no, it wouldn't impact me whatsoever because this is what we agreed to. It's just, you're going to serve it now.
And here's where I think, from Rashi's standpoint, I mean, this is one of the things that he's going to have to deal with the consequences of it next year when he hits free agency, because I think it would have been one separate issue for teams to be saying like, okay, let's say that Rice had not done, and this didn't happen, so he hadn't served any of his 30 days going into free agency next March. Teams are like, okay, well, you got that 30 days hanging over you. Okay, that's one thing. But now he's in a situation where he's going to begin next March, and when he hits free agency, and it's going to be teams thinking to themselves, wait a minute, if he slips up again and has another probation violation, he could go away for the full 5 years. I mean, he could go. He actually go to prison.
Yeah, 2 to 10 years is the each one of them. So the minimum is 2 to 10 years, depending on what it is. He it took him 10 months to violate probation. Oddly enough, 10 months from now would be free agency in March.
Yeah.
So is he not going to violate again over the next 10 months? You know, right now in the first 10 months, he's 0 for 1 in lasting that long. So that's another concern I think that the Chiefs have to have is even if you stand by him, you're standing by him and hoping that he doesn't do something else while, I don't know, maybe they're going to increase how often he has to meet with his probate officer if you know, how often he has to take the drug test, the breathalyzer, because those were part of the stipulations of, I think it was 13 was how often he had to meet, 14 was no alcohol, possessing, buying, have none in your system, have to have a breathalyzer, no illegal substances in your body, having a urinalysis. These were all part of it, and I wonder if maybe that's increased now. You know, and so now he's really, really got to make sure that he's not going to do something as cavalier, selfish, irresponsible in the decision that was made to, you know, get high and break his probation, whether he thought he was going to get caught or not. It's kind of the first thing. You're racing on the highway because you don't think you're going to get caught. You're leaving the scene because you don't want to get caught.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't think you're going to get caught at that point. You're smoking weed even though you're not supposed to. I don't think you're doing that knowing, well, I don't care, I'll just serve my 30 days, I'll do this. No, you're doing it because you don't think you're going to get caught. And that level of invincibility should probably be exhausted with him at this point, that he's not invincible. He's had these issues already. And I bet he's probably thinking about the millions of dollars that are gone that he's never going to get back. But now it's about how many millions can you go out and earn if you can learn your lesson. And the hope, Matt, I think from everybody involved, everybody, is that he comes out of county jail after these 30 days and said, never again. Never again. That's the punch in the face, the bucket of cold water and the slap in the face that I needed. And never again, I'm a changed person. I think everybody is hoping for that.
Yeah, and you know, and everybody's hoped that a couple of times now that was going to be the one. And the thing is that you know, and none of let's face it, none of us know him personally. No. I mean, by and large. No. I mean, maybe there's some out there, you know, that have a better connection. But you know, I've had like maybe a 2-minute conversation about football with him, you know, one-on-one. Other than that, you know, we're just talking about press conferences and scrums and all of this. I mean, I can say from talking to people in the organization that he's well liked. I mean,
they don't wear the free 4 shirts if they didn't like them.
Exactly. And that goes beyond the team. Yeah. I mean, it goes to the front office and the coaching staff and, you know, everybody in the organization. I mean, they like him. I mean, he's got a positive attitude. I mean, they say even when things have been dark for him, he's never down. You know, that sometimes I wonder whether he's really that chill or he just doesn't understand how serious things are.
Or he's just always high. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, he's chill.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. It's legal.
But,
so I mean, I'm not saying not for him, but I'm not saying a judgment there. Hopefully, you're not doing it while you're there playing football.
And
you know?
Honestly, in many ways, it's actually probably fairly healthy that if you're
right,
if you're going through some of the things that he's gone through, everything like that,
That's
and you're able to wake up in the morning with a smile on your face and be happy.
They call it medicinal for a reason.
I mean, even if it's not medicinal, I mean, that, like I said, that's probably a healthy attitude to have rather than, you know, waking up every morning thinking to yourself, how am I going to get through this day?
Yeah, there are worse ways. There are probably a lot of people out there sitting in judgment of, well, this person's doing this or this person's getting high or I would never do that, while they wake up, you know, pissed off at the world, and that guy wakes up and takes a little gummy or a little weed and is like, all right,
rips a bong.
Let's go. Let's get the day. Let's attack the day, man. Life is good. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Live and let live.
Smoke out of an apple.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the doctor said, you know,
that's right.
Apple a day keeps the doctor away. So
but not the probation violation. That's the problem.
You guys seem to know a lot more about things than I do. So
I watched.
What?
I've watched.
You've never smoked out of an apple?
I've watched Pineapple
I didn't
Express.
know that was possible.
I've watched Half Baked, and I've watched The Draft Night of Laramie Tunsil. So I know all of these things. I've watched all of these things.
You've never ripped a gravity bong, bro? What are you doing?
I guess I'm a narc. I don't know.
Gosh.
I've never done any of it, but I don't judge if somebody wants to. I mean,
you've never hotboxed your friend's 2004 Nissan Altima? Come on, bro.
Not today.
Never done any whiz bangs or chasers or I don't know.
Whisker do's, whisker don'ts,
whisker
with or
don'ts,
without
yep.
the scooter stick. No, did not do any of those. But also when it comes to like live and let live, do whatever you do. Like your right to throw up punches when it meets my face. Your right to live and let live is then when you're racing on the highway and doing some of those things. But it's not available to him anymore with the probation. My question is, Matt, and then I want to get into some other things with the Chiefs, because I thought they already needed to look at wide receiver anyway. Like we've talked about that. Like if they're going to bring somebody else in, what position group would that be? Probably wide receiver, maybe linebacker. Who knows? But the first person that I have heard that's not like local commentator, sports radio, podcast, beat writer, media that said, I think he's going to be suspended. That's national. The first one I've heard that was Jeff Chadilla this morning saying, no, I think there's a suspension coming from him. This is I know that it's viewed as sort of the same thing. He goes, but this is an added thing to the same thing. And he goes, and I think this is going to be personal conduct policy. He goes, so I think he's going to be suspended. Even, I think it's Jason Reed at CBS that covers the NFL, put out his thing the other day that he was at the owners' meeting and different notes from the owners' meeting. One of them was about Rashee Rice. And he said, one well-placed source said about facing an additional punishment from the NFL, quote, it's hard to tell because doing this might feel like double jeopardy for Rashee Rice. So even that, it's like one well-placed source that's pretty high up said, hard to tell. Not no, but Chadilla said, I think there's a suspension. It's the first person that I've heard say that. How much of a possibility do you think that is from the NFL in this not being an added criminal charge? And if he didn't fail the drug test and just said, I know this is bad timing, but I'm going to go serve my 30 days right now, he'd still be doing what he was ordered to do anyway.
Right.
Do you think the league will look at this as an added incident that is something extra?
It's very, very tricky, because under the code of conduct policy, there's and some of the other things. Because remember, the NFL has largely decriminalized marijuana and THC.
Yeah, I didn't realize how high the threshold was to test positive for marijuana.
Well, here's the thing: is that there's no threshold for a test because players cannot be suspended for a positive test. They can only be suspended if a positive test results in charges or an arrest.
Okay.
Now,
so that's like the Jordan Addison part of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because you can be suspended if there are charges, if you're arrested or charged in conjunction with.
Because he was over the legal of influence.
Right.
With his speeding, with how much THC he had in his system.
Yeah, and that gets a little bit more aggravated too because the speeding thing, and then you get the whole endangering other people's lives and everything like this. If they don't, I mean, and there is the clause in there, of course, on the conduct policy about conduct detrimental to the team or the league. But I mean, if the conduct that's detrimental is an activity that you can't be suspended for, you can only be fined.
Yeah,
that makes it a little bit trickier. And he wasn't charged, he wasn't arrested. And yes, you're correct. I mean, when you get into the suspensions and whether you would be suspension, that's when the thresholds kick in. Mm-hmm. Now, the court documents that we have seen do not indicate a what level.
Yeah, I was going to say
it was just a positive test. It could have been a trace. I mean, it could have been.
I would say it would be really surprising for him to meet that threshold because not knowing much about it, but like using it in regular terms, like the legal limit is like 3.8 or 38. Yeah. The NFL's limit is 150. Like the legal limit to drive, I should say, is like 38. Whether it's nanogram, milligram, whatever the thing is. I'm not familiar with that. I sound like a total narc, as you would say. This guy's the fuzz over here.
How many marijuanas do you do?
5-0. I have never, ever shot up with weed before. Not one time have I freebased any bong.
I thought it was dope.
Yeah, dope. This is your brain on drugs.
You're on the goofballs.
Yes. But to drive, the legal limit would be 38. The NFL's threshold of like a positive or a suspension fine worthy is 150. Like, they have essentially said, one, we're not going to test, and two, boy, good luck getting higher than that. Literally and figuratively.
And that's why it's going to be difficult. I mean, if the NFL and now I've been told that that let's just say that the NFL offices do not necessarily have a positive view of Rashee Rice, and and Roger Goodell wanted to log in 6 games. I think with what he was pushing for 10 or 11.
Yeah,
and it was the mediation got it down to 6 because obviously the NFL was going to PA was going to appeal. That's the other thing, is that the NFL decides to try and suspend him for a positive marijuana test. The NFLPA is going to lose its absolute cool. It's going to go crazy because they don't think there should be penalties for marijuana at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not happy with the fact that they can still get fined. Just getting the suspensions away from the, part of that was a big deal.
Has there, and I probably should have looked at this rather than just specifically focusing on marijuana, like, is there a case with the NFL where somebody was suspended and then broke probation? Like, no matter what it was, like if he was drinking alcohol, it would still be a violation of his probation, and clearly the NFL is not going to fine or anything with a breathalyzer or alcohol. Don't show up to the facilities drunk, because then that's going to be an internal issue with the team. But it's not anything along those lines, like whatever, skipping a probation meeting or skipping 2 or 3, not showing up. Okay, now you're going straight to jail for 30 days because you are not showing up. That's clearly not against the rules or finable offense for not going to your meeting with your probation officer, but violating your probation in the eyes of the NFL, regardless of how you got there, would that be viewed as an added incident to them? I doubt it. I think the reason we're talking about whether it's an added incident is because we are talking about a failed drug test to get there.
Yeah. And that's a good question, because I was trying to find that too, and I haven't been successful in finding anything if there has been a case where a player was suspended for violating their probation. I think that would be relevant, and so I would love to see if I can find some cases on that, just know how the league has handled it in the past. But again, by the reading of the code of conduct policy and how it's been applied of late, and since they largely decriminalized marijuana in the NFL, for lack of a better word, this is a unique case. I mean, it's a huge gray area.
Is it really unique, Sterling?
Extremely
unique.
Yeah,
very unique.
Uniquely unique, I think.
This is actually a case where it is unique because I don't know any other case like it.
Yeah.
So it makes it one of a kind at this point.
Yep, absolutely. Any chance that, I called it a Lifetime Achievement Award, but any chance the NFL looks at it and says, all right, what happened? We suspended you 6 games for the personal conduct policy. He said with the photographer, we did investigate the allegations placed on social media from a former or current partner, that is the mother of your children. We didn't find enough evidence to support and advance the investigation. That wording is important because it's not them saying we found no evidence. It's we didn't find enough evidence that we would continue with this. And now this, is there a chance the NFL just says the personal conduct policy or the league but being put in a bad light, or whatever the terminology was that you used, of embarrassing the league or something along those lines? Is there any chance that the league says, no, we're going to sort of view the last year and a half in its totality of Rashee Rice, and he was already suspended 6 games. This guy is not somebody that's getting it.
Well, and that goes back to what you were talking about earlier about double jeopardy.
Yeah.
In essence, is that the NFL suspended him for those 6 games based on the conclusion of the criminal case, or the criminal charges, which in the penalty was spending 30 days in jail. Mm-hmm. So he's already been suspended for that penalty of 30 days in jail. That it's not being imposed the way that he planned, but he's already been suspended for this act to a certain degree. I mean, this is just, he was suspended for getting the 30 days and the 5 years probation. Can you suspend him for I mean, going to jail for 30 days when you already suspended him for being sentenced to jail for 30 days?
That's a good point.
I mean,
And violating probation with something that isn't suspendable in your own rules.
And like I said, I mean, to me, I think a large of the part of this is going to go back to, just how the players in the NFLPA are going to react. And, and I haven't heard it talked about a lot. And again, we know very little of the facts. And so this is even probably more speculation than I want to should get into. I mean, I'm getting into it, so I can't say I don't want to get into, but I'm saying it. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not getting ready to say some hot taker here or anything, but it's curious that it wasn't more than about an hour or two after this became public that we then find out that he had surgery on the cleanup on that right knee. And, I mean, there's probably going to be some players who are thinking to themselves or going to say, wait a minute, dude was just, trying to take a little bit of the edge off after the surgery and everything like that. So give the man his medicinal, props here and everything.
It's a good call.
So
problem is he's not allowed to do that.
He's not allowed to do that. So
yeah. And clearly he did not expect this to happen, or in no world would he have been advised to get the surgery before he then serves 30 days in jail. That probably would have been, all right, you got to wait. We'll get the surgery in June, and we'll maybe be ready for training camp, maybe not, but you'll be ready for week 1 after that. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we'll talk to Matt Derrick about options that may be there. Is there a point to where the Chiefs are fed up? And is Rashee Rice good enough that the Chiefs don't find that level of being fed up with him to where they just simply move on? And Patrick Mahomes swung a golf club, which is great. But Aaron Borgman was on with The New Day earlier this week and talked about what it would mean for return to play and the terminology he used, which is completely different than the terminology I've been using about Mahomes in week 1. And we'll talk to Matt Derrick and see what terms would be best appropriate if we're discussing Mahomes returning to play. More Zone next. I would continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm not saying it's going to rise to this level or anything for Rashee Rice for him to be cut, but do you have to lie to the owner to be cut? If you're talented,
there is a threshold there.
If you're talented enough that you can make a real difference on the field, do you have to lie to the owner for the Chiefs to say, okay, yeah, we're moving on from you?
There is a history there to say that is the final straw.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we've reached that or anything, but I will say there's probably a difference between like, hey, if you promised the owner of the team that you weren't going to do something, and you did it, that's bad. But I think what would probably be worse is if you did something and then told the owner of the team that you didn't,
and then video
and
comes
then
out that you
were proved that you did. That's a bigger deal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because
There's thresholds.
Yeah, you told them you didn't do this. They stood by you and said, we're supporting him, that he didn't do this. Then the video comes out and he did do that. You lied, and now we look stupid for supporting you. You gots to go.
You gots to go now.
You gots to go. What are the options for the Chiefs then? Because I felt like maybe they were going to sign a receiver anyway. Like we joked about, like, well, Juju's on the team. He just hasn't been signed yet. It just feels like this is a Juju. There's a spot for him. They're holding the spot for him that when he officially signs. I don't think they're going to cut Rashee Rice.
Makes no sense to.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep him.
I thought they were going to, honestly, but I think at this point now they would have already done it.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's no upside. I mean, really.
Well, no, the upside is you just move on. It's just clean break. It's just fine. Because I think
because you also say I can't trust you this season to not violate your
correct.
again.
And I think
probation.
My thought was the trust had already been broken. They trusted him by not bringing in a big name free agent. They trusted him by not bringing in Juwan Jennings. They trusted him by not taking a first, second, third, or fourth round wide receiver. They trusted him to be the guy for at least one more year. And how is that trust repaid?
And
that was my thought of why they were the whole trust. The whole trust thought.
And I mean, it's just to me, and I'm not sure that their actions necessarily demonstrate trust as much as it demonstrates, options that they just didn't feel like were available to them. I think why did they not sign a big name free agent in the offseason? Well, I think it's probably because they just didn't like any of the free agents that were available that were within their price range. I mean, they're not going to. And that's why I still say, I mean, there's certain places they're not going to go. I mean, you'll be able to knock me over with a feather if they went out and made a trade for a guy like A.J. Brown.
Oh, yeah, no.
That they didn't have to pay. I mean,
plus he's owed $29 guaranteed this year.
Oh, his contract is an absolute disaster even before you rework it. But, I mean, even if you just acquired the contract he has now, it's completely unworkable for the Chiefs.
No, thank you.
I mean, the Eagles were going to be hosed with it enough as it was, but I wouldn't want to inherit that contract, and even restructuring it's going to be a mess. So, Patriots, more power to you. And related to that, I mean, if that trade does go through, obviously, Tayshaun Boutte is popular trade choice.
Sterling's a big Boutte fan.
And big fan of Boutte.
That's the word on the street.
Yep.
Well, because good Boutte.
Yeah. The last 2 years he's been better. Last 2 years he's been. I like big Boutte. Big play Boutte, because he's been much better, and he was, it was Diggs and Boutte for Drake May last year to really throw to, and he put up numbers last year that is roughly what Rashee Rice put up. Different number of games, but if you're saying replace Rashee Rice, it's the same exact, almost the same exact numbers Rashee Rice.
I'd bring in Boutte. I'd trade for Boutte. I'd sign Boutte. Commit to Boutte, if you will.
That makes sense. He's certainly one of those. Brian Thomas Jr. has been talked about. And then you're talking about what level of draft capital are you giving up to acquire? Boutte's going to cost you less. A.J. Brown's going to cost you more. And then cap space. And Brian Thomas Jr. is going to cost you more. Less cap space that you would have to give up like A.J. Brown, but you're going to have to give up more in a trade than you would give up for Tayshaun Boutte.
And, I mean, I get the sense that the Chiefs are at a couple of spots here. And that one is that they don't want to give up valuable draft capital. So if they're going to give up a pick, I mean, I think they would prefer it to be no more than the third-day pick. I mean, they don't want to be giving up a first, second, or third-round pick. So they want to keep that assets as they can because they need them going forward. I mean,
right.
Where they are with the salary cap, they need all the high-round picks that they can get to remain and keep a cheap, affordable team on the field. So you got that problem. And then they don't want to acquire a veteran. One, that they would have to pay a lot of money to, especially if it needs somebody that's going to need to have a restructured contract. They really don't want to acquire anybody that they're going to be paying into their 30s. I mean, I mean, there's a lot of things that they don't want to do, and they would prefer not to have to massively restructure a couple of contracts. They know they're going to have to restructure somebody. I mean, the restructure of Creed or Trey is bound to happen because they need some operating space.
You got to pay your draft picks too.
And well, and I mean the bigger thing, I mean, because they're kind of baked in already, but they don't have, and they have the cap space for that. They don't have the cap space for the full 53, a practice squad, injured reserve.
Keep the lights on when you start the season.
Yeah,
throughout
I mean,
the season.
They've got like a couple of $1 million in cap space now, and and they like to have between 5 and 10 going into the season. Now they probably won't have that much this year, but they're going to have to do some of that anyway. But they don't want to have to like restructure both of those guys in order to acquire somebody. And I think they've learned their lesson a little bit in that there's only so far into a season that you can acquire a receiver and expect them to pick up this offense fast enough to make a contribution.
And I think we saw that a little bit too with one of the names that I had brought up in adding him to the room, whether Rashee Rice is on the team or not. Like number one for me was Debo if Rashee Rice is not on the team. Then it's like, okay, that guy does a lot of the things that you ask Rashee Rice to do behind the line of scrimmage, 0 to 9 yards, slants, get the ball yards after catch, be a tough guy to tackle. Debo sort of mimics some of those things. He's on the downside of his career, but he's still a valuable player, maybe too expensive in the price. My number two was, because whether it's Rashee Rice on the team or not, was Brandon Cooks. And I went that route because it's not going to cost you much. It's going to be a one-year deal, probably $4 million, maybe $5 million, which is still some pricey, maneuvering because of the cap space that they have or do not have right now. But the reason I went Brandon Cooks is, and it's to your point about acquiring somebody midseason. Last year, he had his lowest of his career yards per route run at 0.89. But with the Bills specifically, and you're talking about a midseason acquisition and then getting up to speed on the offense and then going out there and playing the full playbook, his yards per route run with the Bills was 1.64 when he played, which is the highest since his last 2 years in Houston when he combined for almost 150 receptions, almost 1,700 yards and 9 touchdowns in those 2 years with the Houston Texans, before he did a little bouncing, and then last year in New Orleans when it was 0.89 yards per route run, lowest of his career. Went to an offense, Josh Allen, a little better working offense, and it jumps back up to what he was in Houston. So he is not Brandon Cooks of old, but I don't think he's Brandon Cooks of the first part with New Orleans that I almost said he's cooked, that he's done, that his career is over, and if you bring him in, you're bringing him in based on name alone and what he did in the past, and he's not that guy anymore. He was that guy when he played with the Bills with Josh Allen and that offense, and you would hope with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense that he could be closer to the more than 1.5 yards per route run than the less than 0.9 yards per route run that he was with the Saints. So he was my number two, even if Rashee Rice is there or not, to bring in as a part of the team. And then Keenan Allen and Juju have been talked about as other options with them. But I think a lot of the conversation is about if there's no Rashee Rice. And that's why Brandon Cooks was my number two, because it's if Rashee Rice or not Rashee Rice is a guy I'd like to see them bring in.
And Brandon Cooks feels like just a bond investment here. It's a safe bet.
Absolutely.
I mean, no, he's not 27 anymore. This is going to be his age 33 season.
Yes.
And I don't say this from a, he's going to do this standpoint, but this just goes to the fact that this guy has experience picking up offenses quickly, and he has played in West Coast offenses before, so he's got at least the only thing that's going to be really different is the terminology. But when, and let's just say he walked in now, and so he was like here for OTAs and everything. When the last 3 times that he's done that, and he's had a full season with a team off season going into their first year.
Yeah.
When he had actually played a full season, the 3 times he's done that before, he was at 1,000 yards each of those 3 seasons. So he didn't do it last year. Played with New Orleans and Buffalo. Split his time with New Orleans and Buffalo, and so Didn't
and
do
it was
that
rough
last
with
year.
New Orleans.
Yeah, it was a rough start with New
And
Orleans.
he didn't play as much with the Bills when he got there as maybe they were hoping. But also we saw with DeAndre Hopkins the first couple of weeks, it was like, throw the ball to DeAndre. Okay, but at some point you've got to run your offense, and you can't just run specific plays for DeAndre, or the scout's going to be on you and say, well, DeAndre's in the game. Here's the route they're running to him. Here are the plays they have specifically for Hopkins. Where I'm assuming with the Bills, here's Brandon Cooks. Here are the Brandon Cooks plays. He's on the field. This is going to be one of the Brandon Cooks plays.
Yeah, I mean, you're hoping. I mean, yes, that in this case, and I mean, hey, you know, if DeAndre wanted to come back, I mean, maybe it's an option and everything because it is different. I mean, they have a run game now. I mean, that's going to be at least one of the differences. They're going to be able to run the football.
He wouldn't be relied
effectively.
upon as being you're now the
And
number
then,
one.
And in theory, you know, yeah, he's out there with an Xavier Worthy, and you know, he was out there with Travis before. But to your point, exactly. I mean, that offense at that point, I mean, it was DeAndre Hopkins, but that was the only option. So teams learned pretty quickly. It was like, okay, all you have to do is guard Hopkins, and nobody else is going to get open.
That was Kelsey in rough year before taking it seriously again. It was Rashee Rice ACL. It was Xavier Worthy rookie year, and it was Juju injured.
Yeah, but also he had 330 yards played in all 17 games last year.
Right, but what did he have the first couple of weeks though? Because that's my point. Is like you're going to get him in the game. There is no film on these plays for Hopkins.
No, I meant last year with Baltimore.
My bad. I apologize.
Last year,
My bad.
last year with Baltimore, he played in all
Yeah,
17
you did say
games
all
and had
17 games.
330 yards.
Yeah, that's.
I don't
true.
know if
yeah,
that's
good point. Yeah, but also it's like you know,
And the same thing could be true with Cooks. I mean, it's the same thing.
could be true with Juju. Like
Sure.
Juju in there.
Agreed.
It's just.
But you know Juju's going to block.
Yeah, deck chairs on the Titanic right now.
I do love that. You brought it in there perfectly.
Yeah, Juju's going to block.
Juju's going to block.
And with an added run game, maybe it becomes
There
more
you
important.
go.
Which
And
is
if
why.
Walker's going to have 1,600 yards with.
Do you think?
Do you not care about blocking?
Are you
Matt?
surprised? Are you
do
surprised?
care about blocking.
Are you
It's-
surprised they
everybody
weren't?
should block.
Are you surprised they weren't in on Juwan Jennings? I wrote it down to sneak that
Week
in today.
3. There we go.
Just to sneak that
That
in
was
3 weeks in a
beautifully
row.
done. Beautifully done.
Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We did not talk about the Patrick Mahomes thing, but I do want to talk about Patrick Mahomes, the thing, which is the knee.
Oh, okay.
The knee.
Okay.
The knee.
Got questionable for a second.
The
Pause.
knee. He may be against the Broncos all about that brace. About that brace.
About that brace.
About that brace. Break. All right, wrap it up this hour. We're going to hang out with Matt Derrick for one more segment, and then we will get into a little bit more about Patrick Mahomes. We talked a little bit about some wide receiver options, things like that. The Chiefs will be voluntary next week, right?
Voluntary
next week. Is at the end of next week?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
That's right, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Is it voluntary or is it more voluntold?
I think stumped the band on that one.
I think it's voluntold outside of a few players that if they're not there, Andy will say, well, it's voluntary. They're not here.
Oh, he'll say that about everybody and everything.
Yeah, but I think it's more voluntold. And most of the guys typically show up if they're not in a contract dispute.
I'm going to say,
I don't expect Myles Garrett to show up to the Chiefs voluntary next week. He's not even showing up to his own teams.
I'm still going to say voluntary because, does it poor form and poor etiquette if you skip in certain situations? Yeah.
Who on this team has earned that much of street cred to be like, voluntary? Yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to show up.
Street cred, Rashee Rice.
Dang it. It's street racing.
That's the thing. If you got Mahomes and Kelsey showing up for voluntaries, then nobody on the team has an excuse not to.
Right, and if Chris Jones is showing up and Mahomes and Kelsey, then who possibly could be on the team that said, no, it's voluntary, I'm all good. Hey, 6-11 last year, I don't need to show up to the voluntary
Who's it
workouts.
most important to show up is probably the other question. Like Jaden Hicks, I think, is very important for him to show up.
This team went 6-11. Who's it most important for? Yes.
Yeah.
Is my answer. I don't know that there's
Rashard Smith, I would think. I'm thinking guys in the bubble.
Because you know what?
That's the thing. It's voluntary, but your chances of making the roster are greatly improved if you show up because you're not there. You can't make the team.
Well, those young guys had better be there, certainly. But Rashard Smith, this may be part that he gets a lot out of because what if it's like the Chiefs are going, why would we bring in Debo when we're going to turn Rashard Smith into that? What you see that Debo does with behind the line of scrimmage and quick slants and things like that, that's our plan for Rashard Smith. So we drafted him. We thought running back didn't work. We got our running back room now, and now we're going to use him in a certain way that as a quote-unquote weapon type.
Can't wait for that to get thrown out in the ether, that Jason Anderson thinks Rashard Smith is prime Debo.
Who's disagreeing with that? Like, come on, man.
Who's clicking on that? That's my wonder.
Rashard Smith walks in. I'm just going to tuck mines in. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got mind control over Rashard Smith.
He's fired on your day off.
I'll be quiet. Rashard Smith leaves. I'll be talking again. We'll take a break. I'll be talking again on the other side of the break. More so next. We continue on a Friday edition. Rainy. Hopefully the rain will let up. It's rainy Giselle when we talk baseball. Am I right?
Question.
He's not on the show with us.
Question.
Answer.
I'm not a fan of the Star Wars, but on
What?
Matt's going to punch you.
Yeah, I don't get the Star Wars. I don't understand.
You don't get it?
It's like I don't even know you.
No, you know me. You've known this. What's a Grogu?
It's goo that grows.
It's called. I keep seeing these things called like the Star Wars, Mandalorian, and Grogu.
Okay, nobody says the Star Wars. So
By the way, it's like the third time he has said, I don't get the Star Wars.
So if you're reading something that says the Star Wars, then you are reading some AI generated content.
Well, is it? What is it not? Is it just called?
It's just called Star Wars.
It's called Star Wars.
But like, it's not the. Okay.
No.
Well, like I
Not the
figured they were
Star
having like it's like
There's
the
a lot-
War of 1812. It's
No.
not called War of 18.
No.
It's the War.
There are a lot of Star Wars. There's not
No.
just one Star War. That would
Yeah, I
be
guess
the
World
Star
War-
Wars.
This
World
isn't
War
a
II,
single
yeah.
war. It's called the Star Wars. It's
I just figured it's continue to progress into more of this the
You would-
wars in the
there
Star.
have been multiple wars.
Grogu is better known as Baby Yoda.
Is only one star? Because it could be Stars War.
But it's not.
Yeah,
It
it's
says-
not.
The crawl very clearly
Why
says
is
Star
it not
Wars.
just called Baby Yoda? Did he change his name? Did Grogu change his name as he got
Well,
older?
he couldn't speak. He can't speak. He at least can't speak English. He speaks, I can't remember the species name.
Dutch.
But we'll say Dutch, sure. Speaks his language. And so it wasn't learned until, gosh, what was the Jedi that popped up? I can even imagine him in the Mandalorian. I'm like the actor and everything that played it.
Magua.
We learned later that he survived Order 66, which means nothing to you, but to the rest of us, it means a lot.
What does that mean? He was gonna order like food order or
No, Order 66 was the order implanted into the clones to eliminate and turn on the Jedi.
yeah. So I don't get it. So he's Baby Yoda, but instead of being called Yoda, he's called Grogu. It's the same dude. This is the same guy. Like it's not
Correct.
multiple
Yes,
Yodas.
his name is actually Grogu. Yes.
Is it Grogu Yoda? Like is his first name Yoda? Is it Mr. Yoda? Is that his surname?
Yeah, so here's the thing.
You call Cher Mrs. Cher?
No, I'd probably call Cher if I knew her full name.
Mr. Bono? I mean,
But so if his name's
Mr. Slash?
well, yeah, I get that, but that's because that's his name. Like if his name's Yoda, why am I calling him Grogu?
Why?
well, his name is Grogu. He's Baby Yoda, though.
We could talk about the Guns N' Roses if you want to.
Son of a gun, I'll bite
that's
you.
great.
I'll
I
go to
love that.
Buffalo Wild Wings and I will
love that.
bite you.
Let's talk about the brace.
Does Grogu wear a brace?
I thought you were talking about my foot.
Let's talk about the boot. Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Matt Derrick, Das Boot with his Das Brace. We'll see if he wears one. But Aaron Borgman was on earlier this week with A New Day. And they had him on because Patrick Mahomes swung a golf club. And people watched. And it was like, okay, he can swing a golf club, which is cool that he can do that. I want to paraphrase here to what Aaron said about Patrick Mahomes, because the clip we played was roughly 3.5 minutes long. So his point on Patrick Mahomes was, if we're talking about completely healed, he said the graft will not completely heal until around a year. So if we're viewing and talking in terminology of Mahomes' knee is 100% pre-injury healed, that's not going to be till December. But he said it can still be functionally appropriate and safe for him to go out and play week 1. And they become risk mitigators, the insurance business of Patrick Mahomes, the strength in the knee, the range of motion, his ability to move around, functionally appropriate, safe for him to be playing, to protect himself, to move, is all something they'd be looking at for him to play week 1. I have used the term, Matt, and obviously incorrectly now, when I have said, I can't imagine the Chiefs are going to put him out there week 1 if they don't feel like he's 100%. Well, 100% is a relative term because 100% would be when the graft fully heals. So they ain't going to hold him out until December, but I guess maybe 100% confident that he can protect himself and it is functionally appropriate and safe for him to play football?
I'm actually going to go on and defend you here a
Yes,
little bit
defend me.
and say
Thank you.
that I don't think that you were off on your terminology because, Aaron's 100% right. He knows more about this than either one of us put together. So
That is true
I'm
as well.
always going to defer to Aaron because he's great at these
You
things.
saying that is functionally appropriate.
That is very functionally appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that if the Chiefs feel he's 100%, And that's different than believing he's 100%. Because let's face it, once you start an NFL season, nobody's 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty much already dinging down from the get-go. I mean, you're at least no more than 99% week 2.
That's right.
And some guys are a whole lot less than that.
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy was like 0% after week 1. And
Xavier Worthy dropped to like 45% after week 1.
Yeah, and he might have worked his way back up to like 60 or 70%. I mean, that happens.
Yeah, we were mind melding there.
Yeah,
that was
you're
fun.
just play through the pain, man.
Yes.
And because Aaron's absolutely right. I mean, you talk about waiting until he's 100%, physically healed. It is going to be like December.
Yeah.
The question is he going to feel 100%? Do the Chiefs feel like he's as close to 100% as he can be? And like you said, I mean, that's the terminology that they will use is, hey, Patrick's going to go out there. We want him to be able to make plays and protect himself. If he can't do those two things, he won't play. If he can, he will. Even if he and there's a risk there. I mean, if a chance of an injury, I think if they think he can play close to 40% or 100%.
Whoa, 40%.
Excuse me, there. I was even my numbers crossed. If they think, hey, he looks good out there. He looks like he feels 100%, but the scans, the MRIs, and everything say that this thing is like 40% healed. Well, they're not going to probably put him out there.
Yeah, if they feel like that knee is compromised to a degree that he's risking injury by being out there, and then now you got to sit out for 2 or 3 months, there's no way they put him in the game. There's no way they play him if they feel like his ability to protect that knee or just simply running or falling or getting hit awkwardly would compromise that knee and make it worse, like they dealt with his high ankle sprain in 22 against the Bengals and the Eagles. He's probably not playing in those games in the regular season, but you knew these are the final 2 games of the year, so if he gets tackled and awkwardly and he hurts it worse, the season's almost over anyway, and the risk-reward is there because of Mahomes being there, as opposed to week 1 or 2, he gets tackled and, that knee, you now set back 3 months because you were tackled a certain way, and no. And not just if you're tackled awkwardly, that would happen whether you were injured or not. That seemed pretty mundane, and now he's running off the field. Like that Eagles tackle at halftime seemed pretty benign, but then he could barely hop off the field.
So for me, they're not going to even clear him unless he is able to. They don't think a re-injury is possible based on a mundane aspect, right?
Yeah.
There's always a case of re-injury. It's the NFL. Dudes are hitting each other.
Yeah.
There's always a chance of re-injury or even just a new injury, same leg.
Not when, but if you get injured.
Right. I think for me, the thought process starts to change. Like if he was 24 still, I think you're being even maybe more cautious. Maybe you guys view it the opposite way. Like if he's 24, you're sitting here going, we've got about 15 years. We're hoping 15 years of Patrick.
I don't want to make this knee chronic.
Yes, but now,
it out.
And it sounds kind of bad.
Which Rashee Rice would be like, what'd you say?
Smoking on that chronic.
What's that? Somebody said something. Go ahead.
Gosh, now we're listening to the album. Great album.
Yeah.
Top 15 album of all time, probably. Right. But I digest. Chiefs digest. I just wanted to do a little joke
played.
there.
I appreciate that.
Now that there's a 3 in front of his name, or in front of his age, he's going to be 31 based when the season starts. Do they take less of a cautious approach and say, hey, you know what, at this point, we still think there's a lot of time left in a Chiefs uniform for us, but if you were 24, we don't want it to be a chronic thing. 31, we're sitting here going, all right.
And he turns 31 3 days after that Monday Night Football game.
So does the age factor start changing the philosophy of an injury like this? And it could be the opposite. Maybe say you're even more cautious.
I'll be honest. I mean, I think from the Chiefs' standpoint, I don't think the age or the factor or anything like that is going to play into it. I mean, I think it's sincerely going to be for them whether or not that they feel like that he can play effectively and protect himself and do those two things. And eventually, though, I mean, ultimately, I mean, especially in a case like this, it's going to be up to the player. I mean, they're going to give Mahomes a pretty significant vote and be like, hey, Patrick, do you feel it? And I honestly, if Patrick felt 80%, I expect him to want to play because that's just who he is. That's how competitive he is. And, hey, it may very well be. I mean, maybe they're going to say, hey, you are 90% being 90% healed may not translate to 90% chance of re-injury. I mean, those are maybe two separate numbers.
Or 10% chance, you mean?
Yeah, I guess the way I worded that. Yeah, I kind of backed myself into a corner there. Yes. Yeah.
Because if he's 90% healed, 90% chance of re-injury would be a bad bet.
Yeah.
You'd say you'd maybe take the risk if it was 10%.
Yeah. Then even then, like I was saying, I mean, those numbers don't correlate. I mean, it might be a 90%, he may be 90% healed, but only a 3% chance of re-injury. Well, I mean, every player in the NFL has got at least a 1% chance of injuring their ACL in any random game.
You've got a chance of injury anytime. The New York Giants traded Dexter Lawrence, and their starting defensive lineman tore his Achilles yesterday at OTAs.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was starting. It was OTAs, Achilles, out for the year. So you got a decent percentage of injuring yourself in workouts.
Yeah.
So actually playing the game is, even more.
Yep. I mean, like I said, I think it's not going to come down to whether or not he's 100% healed. It's going to be how close to 100% does he feel. Mm-hmm. And if he feels like he's 100% and he can go out and play and be himself, he's going to.
Do you think with all of this surrounding the knee, and we'll obviously get way more information as they head to training camp, certainly OTAs and mandatory minicamp, if he's participating, then we know there's not going to be a pup for him to start training camp. And we'll see if he plays any of the preseason games. But let's all say, and by the way, Aaron Borgman said he fully expects Mahomes to be playing against the Broncos on Monday night. So, like, all of these things of, like, fully healthy, is the graft healing? That's usually a year, and functionally appropriate, all of that stuff. But will he play week one? Yes, I fully expect Patrick Mahomes to be playing week one. With all of this surrounding sort of conversation, they invested in Kenneth Walker. They drafted Emmett Johnson. They signed DeMarcado. Brett Veach has publicly called out Andy Reid of maybe it's a good strategy to attack the strength of our offensive line. They brought in Eric Bieniemy and DeMarco Murray. Do we think the first couple weeks, 3 weeks, month might be a Chiefs heavy run game and relying on that and limiting? So if there's a risk of injury for everybody, limiting the risk of injury for Patrick Mahomes, almost protecting himself with, all right, we dropped you back to pass 35 times and you decided to run 15 of those, Patrick. We're not going to do that. We're going to actually give the ball to the person that can run and should be running. Do we think the first couple of weeks will be the Kenneth Walker show or the DeMarcado, Emmett Johnson, Kenneth Walker show?
It's a really interesting question because, I think it's easy to buy into that and to believe that. But when I think about it, and it's like the Chiefs, they're never going to do that. There might be the one game, and there have been on occasion. There's been the game that occasionally is, in the past.
There was the Houston Texans' first game of the season with Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a rookie. He carried the ball a lot. And then later that year against the Buffalo Bills in COVID when they moved it to like Monday afternoon and it was a downpour rain and nobody could throw and they handed the ball off a ton of times. Those are the two games I remember of Andy Reid saying, let's just give the ball to the running back.
And I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if it was that game. It could have been. Maybe it was that game at the Raiders, last game at the Coliseum, or it was the following week. It was somewhere in that time frame. But I remember the Chiefs. They had a run. They were on the run, but they were absolutely terrible. And then that week, Reed just went into the offensive line.
Oh, I remember that.
It was just like this was. Yeah. He called him out basically in public and everything, and which he doesn't ever do.
I remember that because I remember our conversation going, he's pissed.
And I remember just talking to the guys that week afterwards, and we're like, we got lit up that week and everything. And then they went out and ran for like 260 yards.
I was going to say that next week they went out and kicked somebody's ass on the ground.
That'll happen in a one-game episode. But Andy Reid's Andy Reid. He's going to throw the football. And Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't want to go out and game manage and just hand off the football.
Let me offer this caveat then. Maybe not necessarily the quote-unquote Kenneth Walker show, but do we see more of the offense based around the run or threat of run where Mahomes is more play action when they pass and they offer the reaction from the linebackers that they weren't getting last year since Mahomes ran the fewest play action passes last year? Shocker, because there was no use of running play action because it wasn't getting the job done. Do we see maybe a heavy 12, running the ball, play action, things like that throughout that first couple of weeks of the season?
I mean, if I had to pick a game that I think that the Chiefs will kind of, I don't think that they're modeling after this, but to me, if I had to pick a game that I could think of that I would say, okay, this is the style of game that Andy Reid wants to play against the Broncos. It would be the 2017 opener against the Patriots.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And granted, Kareem has the fumble.
So Kenneth Walker is Kareem Hunt.
But
I love it.
Kenneth Walker is Kareem Hunt. You're gonna give him the ball in the backfield. You're gonna throw him the ball.
200 total yards, a couple touchdowns. Yeah.
You're gonna hit him in the seam route down the middle.
Great, yeah.
You're gonna try and take advantage of him some ways doing that. You're gonna move the ball. I mean, you're gonna do a lot of different things. I mean, and I mean that's one thing for sure too. If we see Justin Fields, for instance, I mean, I think this may be a way for Andy Reid to kind of revitalize the offense a little bit and make it both Patrick and Justin Fields friendly. Justin Fields friendly. I mean, bring some Alex Smith elements back and everything. I mean, and now granted, I don't want Mahomes to be too mobile. I don't want anything designed for him to be doing anything like that. And, the Fields can do that much better, but bring some of those elements back, and certainly, I've been watching some of the old tape of some Chiefs, the offense back in 2021, 22, and it's just like there was so much that they were doing that they just haven't done the last few years, and some of it's just the way the defenses play them. I mean, defenses play them more physically, so they can't do some of the things that they used to do. Some of it, honestly, I mean, this is kind of brings us back full circle to Rasheed. This is why I think Chad O'Shea is just such a huge investment in part of this offense.
True.
Is that between him and Eric Bieniemy, if these receivers, this group of receivers plays the way that these receivers have played the last 2 seasons or so, I don't think these. I mean, we talk about Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, I don't think is going to be getting the snaps anyway. I mean, whether he's suspended or not, if Rashee Rice doesn't change the way he plays, he's not going to be getting snaps.
Yeah.
Because there were plenty of plays where he just didn't finish out.
Yeah, that was really.
And it's not just him; it was the entire across the board receivers who just kind of. I said it last year. I mean, there were times that they would just go out there, run around, and hug a tree.
Well, it was annoying to me, and we talked about this in real time. Of like, we're seeing this happening. There's no way the Chiefs don't see it, yet they're not playing Tyquan, who doesn't do that. Tyquan, who is finishing the routes, is the second play running and trying to get open, yet now he's not playing because these guys came back and they're not doing that. So what's the deal here? And I don't think you re-sign Tyquan to then not play him.
Yeah,
I think you re-sign Tyquan for him to be more part of the offense, which gives you, as you say, if Rashee Rice wants to F around, hopefully he'll find out.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to be running your routes and quitting on plays, you don't need to be out there.
And my expectation going into this season was that the Chiefs were going to, and the fact that Tyquan is back may be evidence of this, because I mean Tyquan it wasn't loud, but it was vocal after the season. He was like, I want to play more. I don't. That's why I'm going to test free agency.
Said that with Jason on the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl said he wants to go to a place where he feels appreciated in the offense.
Yeah.
And has an opportunity to show that he's not just a 9-route, go-route guy and can do all of the things. And the way that he put it was, I get to practice and they have me do all these different routes, and I do it, and I catch the ball, and I'm winning. Then the game comes and I just run straight.
Yeah.
He's like, what do I got to do to be able to show an offense that I can do these things?
And maybe it just simply came down to the most money, because it sometimes usually does.
Right.
But, I mean, players also, they want to play. So there are actually plenty of instances where players take less money to go somewhere else so they can play. But my expectation and my thought is that the reason why Tyquan's back, because they said, hey, Tyquan, you're going to be the X this year. We're going to play Rasheed in the slot. That's where he's going to mostly play. I mean, you guys will move around as usual. But, it's going to be Tyquan as the X. It'll be Worthy as the Z.
Mm-hmm.
Put Rasheed in the slot. Travis, Kenneth Walker. There's your offense.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to be doing most of the time. And, they'll sprinkle other guys in and everything like that. But, Tyquan could conceivably be a bigger part of this offense than Rashee Rice is if he's in that role, because he might end up playing more snaps.
I hope he does. I'd like to see him get the opportunity to do it, because I was impressed in the time that he was in there and late in the game or late in the season that he wasn't getting the opportunities. But when he came in he was doing the things that I would hope the wide receiver would do. So I hope he gets an opportunity to play. And we'll see about whoever the wide receiver is that they go and sign. Hopefully Cyrus Allen can hit the ground running. Jalen Royals has a full season under his belt. Before we let you go, though, Rashee Rice aside, let's say none of this happened with Rashee Rice and he's on. Would you have expected them to bring in another receiver to the wide receiver room before training camp or the season starts?
I mean, I really feel like that. I mean, I suppose just because there's a limited number of OTAs this year, and instead of having 13 practices, they're only doing 9. So I guess maybe the OTAs are not as important, but for this team in particular, I mean, excluding Juju, because he's been in this offense multiple years, so even with the changes that I'm sure that they're making this year, he'll be able to pick it up. He's a smart guy. So he could come in at any point, and maybe that's what he wants and the team wants is like, hey, he's just there and break glass in case of emergency kind of guy. He's still just 29, so
he's got old knees.
Oh yeah, I mean, tell me about it. I mean,
he said that 4 years ago.
He and I could have some knee stories, I'm sure.
A knee off.
In 2022, he said he has old knees.
And be like, you think you got bad knees? Look at these guys.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's there. I mean, there's other options, too. I mean, once again, it's going to come down to what are they willing to give up or sacrifice in order to bring somebody in. And maybe it's going to be that they just like what they have and they think that Chad O'Shea can coach these guys up. I think that's hard on Mahomes because he's going to be the one to try and elevate these guys. But, again, I think Mahomes can elevate guys. It's just whether or not this group of receivers in particular has enough of a base to be elevated.
So with Rashee Rice not suspended, healthy, playing, this is the wide receiver room in week 1, you think, if all healthy? Or
I mean,
you do think they will
think
make
it makes too much sense for them not to add somebody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like that they have to.
Yeah, I agree. And would it be a guy like Juju?
I mean, he would be my 2-1 favorite right now, just because it's the most obvious. He's
I agree.
available. He knows the offense. Everything is there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, then it's a crapshoot for everything else. I mean, I don't think they would want to give up enough for a Brian Thomas or
No,
Marvin Harrison Jr.
A.J. Brown, hell no.
There's just no way that would work.
I don't need a guy that won a Super Bowl and complained about not getting the ball as much after winning the Super Bowl.
Dude, exactly. I mean,
don't need that guy.
You don't need a guy.
And you're paying him $30 million.
Yeah. You don't need a guy that complains about not getting the ball enough to come into play with a team like Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then when they force the ball to him, the offense stagnates.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Say,
don't need that guy.
hey, AJ, here's your Everybody Eat T-shirt.
Yes.
And you'd be like, get that away from me.
You go
AJGE. AJ got to eat.
Free
AJ.
AJ.
There you go.
The free AJ.
You would be
give him the ball.
weeks away from the free AJ shirts.
Yes, no doubt. You know what? You can rejoin Mike Vrabel. Do that. I hope you do. I hope he goes and rejoins Mike Vrabel. If Vrabel's even coaching, who knows at that point? I have no idea. Matt, you're the man as always, brother. I appreciate it, man.
You're the best. Both of you.
Yes, thank you. See, look, you too, Sterling. Michael, shut up.
All three of you.
Oh yeah, hey Michael, welcome to the party. Come on in, Michael. The grill is warm, the beer is cold, and the pool is Luke. Welcome into the party, buddy. It's Memorial Day.
Great to be here.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I think Mick Schaefer is going to be here next.
Twitter thinks he's funny.
Shame on you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Friday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer joining us. KSHB 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Hello, Mick.
Found out last night my daughter's volleyball tournament got moved to Blue Hawk at the end of the month here.
Yes.
So we'll be out there next weekend. Not this
All
weekend,
right.
but next
That's
weekend.
awesome. My son's birthday party will be there next weekend.
Yes,
so
I
I'm
know.
pumped
He's
about
turning
it.
38.
38.
You
Yep.
should ride the zip line the whole time that it's going on.
Yeah,
Kid is-
no, I'm not your age. I'm not 12 like you.
Sorry, dude.
The whole time.
It's actually fun.
Move, kids.
Move, kids.
What's the
yeah, Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson?
Yes, that was my whole bit,
okay,
but
sorry. Yes.
just make fun of me more, I guess. Dad, I feel like you're only here for the zip line. No,
Who changed?
dig, dig, sweetie, dig.
Who was it on the NBA show that changed Wembanyama's name to Tim Duncan and David Robinson and started calling him Tim Robinson?
Yeah,
and
that's-
everybody started doing like, I didn't do it. Dang!
I didn't do it. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to find out
We're
who
gonna
did
find
this.
out who did this banana suit and everything, like showing Tim Robinson in like a Spurs jersey. Is like, why is he calling him Tim Robinson?
I always love the one too. There's another one where
I didn't do bleep
eats-
and bleep.
does the nachos with all that. You can't have all the nachos.
Yes,
all the,
yes.
But I love the meme of him. He just goes, "What are you even talking about?" When it's obviously him doing something dumb. So now, anytime I obviously get caught doing something that I probably shouldn't be, I just go, "What are you even talking about?"
He has 2 shows. He's got I Think You Should Leave
Yeah,
TV shows
Great.
and The Detroiters.
I've heard about that one. yeah.
Hilarious. It's his same type of ridiculous,
And I get
zany comedy.
I do
Yeah.
understand that people who don't like it or don't get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those ones
yeah.
where you can kind of understand. I go,
Yes.
yeah, I get it.
I like the
My mom loved the coffin drop one. You know the one with the coffin drop where they keep dropping coffins and
yes,
dead bodies
yes,
fly
yes.
out, but they're always naked, and so it's
I
I didn't
enjoyed,
rig it. I didn't rig bleep.
I enjoyed the Chair Company.
Chair Company's great.
That's good, you know, because of just the whole spiraling season just continues one spiral with him. And he plays the character perfectly. So I enjoyed that. I like his work, you know. I like Tim Robinson's work. And
The Ghosts one's pretty good. Do any of these ever come out of the wall? And I can't see anything else from that exact.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I remember that
you
now.
can't say.
What was the one where he was interviewing somebody and he was just always on his phone? He would ask a question and he would just go to his phone and he'd just slouch down in his chair.
kind of like Between Two Ferns.
The people who don't know what we're talking about are lost.
Yeah.
But the people that are in the know,
I didn't know
Have
about
fun.
much about Tim Robinson until about a year ago. Then kids turned me on to him.
Yeah.
I stay
Whoa.
hip with my kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's certainly pretty popular with the youngsters these days. Was it him and Sam Richardson did the Lions video last year, the schedule release video?
They
They're
star
both
in the
Detroit
Detroiters.
guys?
Yeah.
So yeah, they both did the Detroit Lions one, and that was pretty good last year for the schedule release.
Well better, much better,
Also-
and well better than the
all-
Lions this year.
yeah, well better. They
I
should have
can't
had.
imagine Tim Robinson and Dan Campbell in a room
That's what
together.
they should have had.
Yeah.
They should have had Tim Robinson dressed as Dan Campbell, or Dan Campbell printing off the schedule and walking out and putting the thumbtack in there and just acting like sort of a badass. And Tim Robinson saying, "In this organization, blah 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 blah."
Training camp and just one guy on the zip line the whole time.
It's just there the whole time.
Hey, why do they have a zip line above the practice? That seems distracting for the players. Also, the football was thrown high enough that it actually hit the guy. And they weren't even aiming to hit him on the zip line. So are you going to ride the zip line at the...
I'm convinced now. You guys have convinced me. I'm
it's
doing
gonna
it
be great.
the whole time.
You have to do
It is actually fun though. I've wrote it
I believe that.
a few times.
riding by and you see the window like, oh yeah, nice. You wait till you get back around again to see
point, girls.
how the game is going. Still the same volley. Or is it? I don't know. Well, that's cool, though. Have you guys played a tournament at Advent Health Blue Hawk?
No. We have gone for. It's funny. I think our cousins come up from Wichita and they're having a basketball tournament there that same weekend as well. It's big enough you can have both, and that would be cool if they end up both being there. So, no, our first I think kid playing a tournament there. So
That's really cool,
Good
man.
bar.
So here,
Just for you to knowledge, no reason, but
Sure,
just in
yeah.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need an Uber from your kids' volleyball game.
In case your kids lose and they want to go and drink the sorrows away.
Listen,
Good bar for the
youth
kids, too.
sports drives you to drink. Absolutely.
Yes, it does. We'll see how much drinking I'll be doing this weekend. So I know I'll be driving a lot. No
They don't
drinking.
serve at 3 and 2 yet, do they?
We're at Cap Fed. I don't know how much they serve up at in Liberty at Cap Fed. I'm not sure.
If this was the early 2000s, you'd dance a lot. That's how they served you back in the day.
Is that right?
I learned that.
You had to dance?
Well, you got served.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Okay. Yep. You're talking about you need to bring it on.
Yeah, I'm talking, the
Yeah.
early 2000s.
Well, here's the thing, Sterling. It's already been brought in. Okay.
I remember a long time ago a baseball tournament in St. Louis, and they served like 12 packs and 6 packs of beer, and we'd never seen that anywhere. And so I go with my buddy to order. I'm like, how much is a 6-pack? He goes, does it matter? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're serving. Just buy it. I'm like, it's a great point.
I think Mid-America
It's a great
sells. I think Mid-America has alcohol.
Yeah,
I
they do
think.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
They do for when I played
I guess yeah.
softball.
Back in the day, that was it was a different configuration. Yeah, they did it. They did it at night for softball and everything. But when we had youth tournaments, I don't remember ever.
Yeah, we won a
them
game, and the
serving there.
kids, we got them all. So
got 'em
they,
lit. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean,
Something light, though, of course. Like, they're not giving them like a
Sure,
full-blooded.
yes, right.
You're not giving them a full Budweiser.
No
but like
IPA.
maybe like a Bud Light or a Busch Light to ease them in.
Yeah.
And in Mid-America's defense, the kids didn't buy it. We bought it for them. Okay,
Do
so
you
they
guys-
didn't know.
Do you guys remember like one of your first beers? Joke. Like your first non-light beer?
I remember the only beer, so
You've had
I
one.
guess it's true.
I've had one.
Because we did a thing yesterday was Foster's, and obviously we had
Australians
we had
put a
just
beer.
turned 21 in high
I said
school.
my first drink was Foster's when I was 21.
One of our first beers, someone's dad had, and we're like, let's try this Foster's. You know what does not taste good when you haven't really drank at all?
I think it
Foster's.
ever tastes good. Yeah.
You know what's just
None of it
thick?
tastes
That
good.
or the time I remember trying to go to, it was in Memphis, trying to act like I was 21. Well, I was 21, of course, but trying to really pretend that I
You were
was.
trying to act like just like now, you were trying to act like you were 21.
And so
that seemed to be your life motto.
Whether he's 10 or 30, he's
Yes.
acting like he's
Just trying
21.
to act
That's
like I'm
actually a
21.
good call.
You got a fake ID to be 21.
But my thought was, if I order a light beer, they'll think that I'm underage. So let me order a Smithix, which, if you've not had a Smithix, it is a very
Let me get that
thick-
Schlitz.
Isn't it Smittix?
Smithwix. It's spelled Smithwix,
Yeah,
but
but
I,
it's
but I,
Schlitz.
I have to call it Smithix. Like, it makes me
Smith-
sound
it
like I
is
know what I'm.
Smithix,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. Oh, I got like a 32-ounce one too, and on Beale Street, and let me tell you, does not taste good. That was a long time to finish that one.
It was like room temperature by the time you got done
They
with it.
come out like room temperature. It's England beer. They don't have cold.
I'm picturing Sterling as McLovin. I heard they added more hops to it.
You pretty much nailed it.
I do the Schlitix. This is one of my favorite beers. I heard they added more
Didn't
hops.
get ID'd when I did that. You know why? Because obviously I was 21. But
Mustache.
didn't get. I couldn't grow a mustache then.
Oh, really? I thought you
When
were
was it?
21.
What year?
Did you start growing a mustache?
Probably 26, 27 before I could grow a mustache. Really,
Oh,
like
oh,
a
no.
thick one.
What year were you buying this beer?
in
Oh,
Memphis.
dude, this is probably 2013.
And you were born in
No,
2000.
no, this would have been
and you were
20.
and you were born in 2000.
No, this would have been
2013.
I was
you were-
21.
Yep, you were born in 2000. So 2013.
Before my time.
He was
You do the math.
19. He was
You do
born
the
in
math.
94. He was
What?
19.
Shout out Silky O'Sullivan's
Silky O'Sullivan's. Nice.
on Beale Street.
That's where you want to have the Super Bowl is in Memphis too, so you can go back to.
I
Silky
did. Memphis
O'Sullivan's.
is electric. I'm telling you.
Been there
Have it
twice,
in the,
never
Liberty
been to
Bowl?
Nashville.
What'd you say?
I've been to Memphis twice, never been to Nashville.
Memphis
You're
is
not
crazy.
You're not
Elite.
missing anything in Nashville. You're just missing the how broke you'll be when you leave.
Yeah.
To see
There's
the
more to
same-
do in Nashville than Memphis.
Yeah.
100%.
A little safer maybe too, but
little safer.
but the danger kind of gets you going. The danger you
Does.
feel a little something.
Yeah, who wants to feel safe all the time
Yeah.
on Broadway? You know, because at least in Memphis there are different types of people robbing you. You go to Nashville, it's the same band in every single bar. I mean, it's just over and over the redundancy. At least Memphis, there's a little variety to it. You know, come on, that's what you want. Variety is the spice of life. Okay, you don't want it just to be the same thing over and over again, and that's what Nashville. It's a lot like a marriage. It's the same thing over and over again, and you lose a lot of money.
Oh, so Nashville
charge you
and,
constantly.
or Vegas. But speaking of overrated, where do you value Vinny? Like, have we?
We'll talk about that next. All right, wrap it up this hour. We'll talk a little high school baseball coming up at 1 o'clock. Looking forward to that. The conversation around Vinny we had in the first hour, Mick, I compared it to a car that it feels like if we're talking about selling for the Royals, which people are already talking about, and who's going to be a part or a key cog in this team that can win a division for 27 and 28, is there value in Vinny and trading him, or do you extend him? And what I said is Vinny, to me right now, the way that he's hitting it, and what he means to the team. So what he means to the team versus the way that he's hitting, it's a car that you aren't going to get the value on if you trade it in because you owe more than it's worth. But it's also not a car that's what you thought it was, and it's breaking down at a higher clip, and it's not as reliable getting from A to B. But the Royals, I think, are kind of stuck because if they were to trade him, I don't think they're getting the value from another team that would say the way the Royals feel like what he means to the team versus here's the spreadsheet and what we'll give for what this guy brings on the field with his on base and slug.
And the car was given to you by your grandfather, so there's some sentimentality there.
Exactly, right.
Yes.
Well, this has been in my family for 50 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't care.
And inside, I mean, it's great. I mean, AC works.
That's a good point about
It's
the car.
interior, the cup holders, a lot of those.
Heated
and so
seats,
there are a
heated
lot of
steering
good
wheel.
qualities like leadership and great teammate and stand-up guy. It's just, yeah, I don't know, the slug would be the engine, right?
Here's
And
the OPS that he's been around the past couple years. 24. The guys that his OPS were around. He was just behind Nathaniel Lowe and Jake Berger. He was just ahead of Yandy Diaz and Carlos Santana. Last year in his best year ever,
1,300.
he was behind Ryan O'Hearn, Alec Burleson, and just ahead of Wilson Contreras and Spencer Torkelson. The point I'm making here is he's had 2 really nice years. He's solid, but that's good for 10th and 11th in OPS as a first baseman. That's what you should be doing. I feel like we value him sometimes as, no, he's like a building block. He's this guy so-and-so. He's not in the same category as these elite first basemen because what's Alec Burleson bringing you back in the trade?
I don't know, but I'd love to have him in the lineup right now.
No, I agree. But, like, even my point is, what's Ryan O'Hearn, as good as he's been, what's Ryan O'Hearn?
they could only get a guy like Ryan O'Hearn in this
Right?
organization.
They need to find a guy like that, or Brent Rooker.
What's Nathaniel Lowe? And I know age plays a factor. I'm being a little hyperbolic here. But, like, what is Jake Berger bringing you back in a trade?
Yeah.
Well, that's basically where Vinny's at.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth it. And that's also if they would have sold high on Vinny.
Yeah, but I would like Alec Burleson in the lineup with his 360 on base percentage and his 830 OPS and his 300 batting average. If you're into that sort of thing, you know. I'm not into that. I'm just saying if somebody were to be interested in a player that does that for you.
But my point, though, is still the same of he's in the Alec Burleson category, which is
he was this year.
what does that
Nothing. Yeah.
Right,
No,
that's
no,
my
no
point.
one's going to value him. You guys are right. More than the Royals.
Yep. And
you just hope that hey, he comes around and that you can fill this lineup with guys that you can move him down. He could be more of a fixture at 6 or 7.
the concern would be, and Sterling brought this up too, is if this season so far has been hampered by the back, then can you expect him to be Vinny if he's battling a back? All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. Mick Schaefer is hanging out with us, KSHB 41 sports director in the show with us. We are going to switch from the Royals and Rashee Rice conversation, which is nice to do. And we're going to talk a little baseball, a little high school baseball, with the state championship tournament going on the Kansas side at 6A, with the tournament starting on Tuesday, at least from the semifinals, or quarterfinals, I should say, coming up on Tuesday. And joining us now is from Mill Valley, Jeff Strickland joining us, head coach of Mill Valley High School Baseball. Jeff, welcome into the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate it. And also, Dustin Stinnett from Olathe Northwest, who you're probably familiar with. Dustin, welcome into the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Dusty.
It's not even.
Let them talk.
Let's go, hey, guys. Go ahead. I want to definitely have you guys back on the show next week after you both win, because then it could be fun, guys. I know you're not looking past the first one, but Dusty, how many people get to call you Dusty, Dustin?
So now he's got more people involved in this. I'm not a big fan, but
do you call him Jeffrey?
And worse than that. For sure. But yeah. Jefferson is what I go with most often.
Nice. For those that may not know, Dustin was an assistant coach with Jeff at Mill Valley for a long time, and now we're in this position. From your guys' perspective, I'm sort of curious, like the new format for state this year, I don't know if it's why the East Regionals ended up like they did, but what a crazy year where 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10 are all eliminated in the East region. And Dustin, Olathe Northwest, your team, the 11 seed, makes the run and wins. Gardner Edgerton, the 12 seed. Jeff, your Mill Valley team is playing Shawnee Mission South, the 8 seed. Is it because of the new format, or it's baseball and these things happen, and especially high school baseball?
I tell you, oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks for cutting me off.
Age before beauty, Dusty. So it's not really a format thing. I just think it speaks volumes to how incredibly tough the east side of 6A baseball is. 1 through 16, every team has quality arms, great baseball players, and it's not surprising when you see quote-unquote upsets because every team is good.
Dusty?
Yeah. Dusty, yeah. I mean, I kind of echo that. Every team has a guy, and there's not a layup you run into. It's like, well, you're going to have to play well to win here. And, there's certainly upsets, but it's like everywhere you turn, there's just talent. And I think Jeff and I have talked about this a number of times. The talent depth in the area is reminiscent of like 2017, I believe, when you had a number of draft picks out of the area, and everywhere you turn, there's a Division I arm. And I mean, I'd almost say the talent depth this year is even deeper. So it's just real baseball all the time.
Yep.
I want to make both you guys feel old. This is Mick. We're moving Aiden, who just graduated college, down to Wichita today. So hopefully that makes you guys feel old. How
much did you guys hate coaching Aiden, by the way?
Or
dealing with
dad
Mick?
in the stands, yeah.
Dealing with Mick mainly.
Well, as far as making me feel old, Mick, last time I saw you were trying to play long toss in right field at Mill Valley.
My arm fell off. I'm left-handed now.
I was going to say, I don't know if you can make us feel old after watching that.
It was bad. I still remember that to this day.
Yep.
Don't do that as an old man.
Yeah, I know,
Your
right?
arm's going to fall off.
Yeah, long toss. Who does that? Who even teaches that anymore? No, just keep it close.
Ridiculous.
Do you guys like the new format? Because 4 will be going down to Wichita. You have 2 on the east side, 2 on the west side. What changes would you guys see to it? Would you ever want to see like a 3-game series in the finals or the semifinals to maybe get a better gauge of who the best team is out there?
Well, three-game series would be a dream. Make it a week-long event, either at Wichita or KU or whatever the case may be. I think you get a better gauge of maybe who is maybe the best team in the state. Baseball is so weird. It's one of those on any given day. So I would love to see like a double elimination tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at any given day, bats can go cold, an arm can get hot, a zone can be expanded. You just never quite know what's going to happen. As far as the format of kind of an off-site, neutral site game leading into the semis, Jeff and I had coached together for 15 years, and when you're in the Final Eight and you go down to a site like Hoagland at KU or Wichita State, that just the buzz around it is unlike most of the players have ever felt. And it's you go there and you're staying the night in a hotel, and the dudes are amped up, and you tour the stadium, and I mean, it's going to be big-time baseball on Tuesday, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just something different about having the Final Eight from your division all in the same place, and everybody's watching and seeing kids do things that they've never done before and competing. And I'm really hoping we can get there just for that experience for all the guys on my team.
I say put them in a hotel right next to Blue Valley West on Monday night. Just do that. Really the experience.
I'll let the district know we're going to use that money.
You guys talked about just all the talent here. I think I was at Jeff, your game against was it Lake the West this year, and it was Bo pitching against a kid from Lake the West, and he's going to Oklahoma State. And Dustin, I know you guys have guys as well. And I feel like every game you go to, there are multiple scouts out there. They got their radar guns, they've got their quarter zips on. They're from the Twins, they're from the A's, from the Yankees, whatever. How do you guys cautionary coach against that? Get kids who are 17 years old, already have the distractions of homework and girls in the stands and all that stuff, to now not pay attention to major league scouts who are out there.
We knew this was going to be the case with Bo at the beginning of the year. We addressed it briefly. And our kids have been unbelievable. They haven't changed anything. And we told them, scouts know a lot of people, and it's a great opportunity to maybe get other guys seen. And that's actually happened as far as some scouts seeing some of our other players, some Division I, that no Division I coaches. So it's been a lot of fun, and the scouts have been great to talk to and kind of pick their brains on stuff.
Yeah. We don't have any of those super high-end, draft pick type guys. I just have a kind of a whole group of really nice ball players that, kind of what Jeff was saying, it's awesome being around that because, same thing. We tell the guys, you do the right thing in front of the right person at the right time. You never know what your opportunities might be. And then, a big thing that I had to really rock and roll from the start of the season is, and it's kind of our team motto, it's just us. We don't worry about anything or anyone else. It's just us. And we handle what we can handle and just continue to try to do the next right thing over and over. And, if we just handle our jobs appropriately and don't worry about anybody in the stands or who's across the other side of the field, then we should be okay.
Mick made you guys feel old earlier in his question about Aiden, but because you guys have been coaching for a while, and Dustin, you coaching with Jeff, and Jeff, you being a high school coach for so long, you mentioned the players and the talent around the area, and looking back to 2017, how have you seen, Jeff, we can start with you, and then Dustin, you can weigh in, but how have you seen the talent grow around the area? And if it has gone to sort of this level, what are some of the theories or reasons why this area and 6A East has become such a difficult trek because of the talent?
Well, I think I started seeing just the overall talent levels really ramp up around here about a dozen years ago when you saw guys like Riley Pint, and then a couple of years later, Joey Wentz and so on and so forth. I think a lot of the talent is, one, just better training. We're in an affluent area. Kids can afford better training and life experiences, and there's just a lot of kids that really love the game. But, yeah, the talent in the Sunflower League, the EKL, I think it's second to none. And I know a lot of maybe nationally people might think, well, Kansas baseball might not be the equivalent of Texas or some of the other warm weather states. I would put all of our teams, including Coach Stinnett's team and our team, up against any team from any state. It's just crazy the amount of talent.
Yeah, 100%. As far as the training opportunities these guys have in the off season, they have access to strength coaches and position-specific coaches, and they can essentially do stuff year-round. I also, I've spoken to a number of guys about this stuff. You have, some of these kiddos. My son's a junior that plays for me, and he was around in 14 and 15 when the Royals were making their run, and they see the buzz around town, and that just brings on a new love for the game, and it starts to just be, man, I want to be like that someday. And so these kids at a young age got to see some of the most exciting times in Royals baseball, and then I want to be on that field someday playing. And it's almost like the Holmes effect with youth football around here. Is you see the haircuts go around. Both my sons had the Haas haircut back in the day, and so just the excitement and like Jeff said, the affluent area where people are able to use their resources to provide opportunities for their kids.
Well, the one thing that I've seen, and this is at the very lower level, because my oldest is now 10, and he plays on a team that's pretty competitive, AAA major, as a 10-year-old. But what I've seen over the last couple of years is why our team has gotten better and better is because there are talented kids on the team, but then it becomes sort of a competition. It's like, well, that guy's doing this, I'm doing that. Well, now to stay on the team, you've got to improve, and it sort of builds on itself. And I would imagine that with the talent that's around the area, as that continues to grow, that's also got to be part of it, to maintain with other players and teams and to play at that level. You've got to continue to get better at a level or a degree or a progression that maybe, 30 years ago you didn't necessarily have to, because you would have been maybe the best or second best player on that team.
I think access to information for these kiddos, like immediate information, to where, kind of to scale that out a little bit more, these kids go to the showcases, or they have people that are watching them play, whether it be at, home field or creekside or somewhere, and then it's instantly posted on Twitter or Instagram, and these kiddos can say, oh, wow, that kid is throwing 92. I need to get to work. Or look at that kid's exit velo. And so these kiddos are able to see, like, Jeff and I started coaching together in 2007, and then you show up to the ballpark and be like, man, who's that guy? Because we just didn't know. And now it's just instantaneous. Like, kids could be in the dugout and they get tweeted by someone after they have a really nice AB. And so that constant comparison is certainly incentive for these guys to continue to push to get better year-round.
Jeff, what's your experience been like in from that? Because you've had some pretty good players, and obviously, you've got a kid this year, as you talked about, with all the scouts that are there all year with a guy like Bo, that I don't know many people that would want to compare themselves to him, but there's nothing wrong with trying to work to get to a level maybe close to him, but he's certainly a guy that's at a different level compared to some of the other kids in town.
I think not just in baseball, but every sport, you're going to aspire, if you truly love the sport and you want to go to the next level, you're going to aspire to be as good as the best. And a kid like Bo and some of our other guys, we're very lucky to have a great senior class. They only make our other kids better. And everything that Dustin said about that social media and just a little bit, it's just one more thing that kids look at. And, but yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't know, Stinnett, how many Division I arms have you seen this year?
It's actually more likely to see one than not.
Wow.
I know.
You think back when you'd see a guy that was 86, 88, and it's like, man, this guy can really hump up and throw. And now you hear guys, oh, he's only upper eights. He's not in the mid nines.
Only.
It's just like, what has happened?
Yeah, he's only throwing 88, but he's in 8th grade, so he's got some room to grow into his body. Dustin, I'll ask you, like, if you guys were to get past the first round matchups and you face off there in Wichita, is it an unfair advantage if Jeff has Bo out on the field?
Yeah, unfair advantage? No, man. I think.
Okay, I just didn't
why
know.
would you not want to go and just play against the best?
Yeah, for sure.
Of course. And then the other thing is really great about that experience is, what do you got to lose, fellas? Just go play.
Yeah.
Like, you just play and do the next thing right, and let it be what it's going to be.
Yeah. How do you guys approach the postseason games? and maybe this quarterfinal game specifically where, okay, you got to take into account a game that might happen after that, but also you got to get to that game, Drew. How do you balance the hey, let's go for it today, or let's leave something for the next day?
We're not thinking about a potential next game and I know that sounds like coaches speak, but we really are not. We have to beat a really talented China Mission South team, and if we are able to do that, then the next, literally probably a minute after, we're looking at either playing Olathe Northwest or Free State. And what's interesting about that particular quadrant with those 4 teams, we've all played each other during the regular season, so there is some familiarity to each team. So, yeah.
Dustin, same for you, that Thursday doesn't matter because Tuesday is the Game 7?
I mean, the only thing I'm concerned about with Thursday is my hotel situation in Wichita. You know, as far as anything past Tuesday, no, man. You play. You just play and see what happens, and you deal with anything afterwards. You don't worry about holding an arm or anything like that. You can't hold an arm if no reason to hold them if there's not tomorrow. So you just throw the house at it and see what happens.
For either one of you, because you talk about the Division I arms that are there in the area that you guys face, as a coach, you know, each of you that has talent, and hey, if I put this guy on the mound here, we got a really good chance to win. And then a couple days later, I know he pitched the other day, but if I put this guy on the mound for this inning, how do you fight the urge of, you know, the competitiveness, knowing that this guy may help you in a certain spot, but also, you know, the kid's future and his body and things like that are part of the bigger picture?
Well, I'll go for, naturally, part of the things, we have pitch count limits, so that could keep us from doing that. But, you know, I probably speak for Dustin as well. You know, him and I coach for so long together, and I think we have a lot of very, very similar mindsets about how we treat kids and everything. I know we sure would never put a kid's health in harm's way to get a win in a high school game, no matter the stakes. You know, parents entrust their kids to us, and it's not something that we would ever do.
Yeah, I'd punt on an entire season before I put a kid's health at risk. That is just not worth it. And the other thing that we, at this point in the season, and you get to know your guys really well, you know what guys are able to bounce back quickly, who have quick recovery, who are super high effort guys versus loose, and they feel like they can throw 100 pitches a day. So you can't. There's no one set approach for any kid. You just have to gauge who they are and kind of how they operate and how they are the following day after they do throw.
All right, so we have a texted question sent in to me here, fellas. It is unknown number, says, who's the best assistant you've ever coached with, and why is it TJ Finan?
Oh, my.
I have a feeling I know who that's from.
Yeah.
Anonymous. Anonymous.
Yes, yeah.
That's weird because, Dustin, I have a text here that says, who's your best assistant, and why is it Chris Thorup?
Well, they're certainly the tallest assistants that we've ever coached with. I think they're both like 6'6" or taller. I tell you, just all seriousness, the best coach I've ever assisted has been Dustin Stinnett. And I said for years that guy was going to get a chance to be a head coach. You know, I had the luxury of having basically an assistant coach that was a varsity head coach caliber individual for 15 years. And so, yeah, Dusty would be he is a great baseball mind, and you can see what he's done in 4 short years with Olathe Northwest. He's just got the program just better and better every year. So that would be definitely my choice, not TJ Finan, certainly not Christopher Thorup, not that guy.
Wow, definitely not Chris. You hear that, Chris? Definitely not you. Interesting. Yeah. I'm going to see him in a couple of hours. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to see Finan in a couple of hours.
Really? Well, Chris's son plays on the Prospects with my son. Yeah, Leo.
Nice.
Yes,
absolutely. Memorial Day Select 30, right?
Absolutely, 100% up at Cap Fed. We'll be heading up there. If you want to bring any scouts, 4 o'clock when the Prospects get going, just let us know. We'll get a nice seat for you. Mick, anything? I mean, I've really
That was
enjoyed
my
it, guys.
dismount there with,
there you go.
with
That's
Finan.
awesome. Yes, guys, appreciate it, and I know there's certainly the respect with you guys. And Thursday doesn't matter if you guys match up because Tuesday is most important, and those games being played. So, congratulations on what has been a successful season for both of you and your teams and your players to be in this position to hopefully play 3 more games. Well, yeah, 3 more games to be able to win a state championship. Thank you guys for joining us.
Good
I really
luck, guys.
appreciate it. Yeah, good luck.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yep,
There's Dustin Sinnett. He's the head coach of Olathe Northwest, and also Jeff Strickland, the head coach of Mill Valley. And Olathe Northwest plays Tuesday, 3:30 at Blue Valley West again against Free State. And then right after that game is going to be Mill Valley against Shawnee Mission South at Blue Valley West. The winners of those games will meet in the semifinals in Wichita.
And do we know for sure East is going to play East in the semifinals and West is going to play West? I genuinely don't know that.
Yeah, it's so
Because before they would be seeded by
yeah,
record.
no, they're seeded. So so it is the bottom half of the bracket is Free State's the 2, Mill Valley's the 3. So the 2-3 would match up, and then Olathe Northwest is the 7, Shawnee Mission South the 6. So the winner of those 2 games will face off in the
it's
in the
already seeded
semifinals.
then, even though they're not in Wichita.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. So they've seeded it, even though they're playing neutral site with the games that these are going to be played in Blue Valley. And then Mays will be playing in Salina, and then Manhattan versus Washburn is going to be in Emporia is the other one. So we'll take a time out, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next.
Welcome back to the zone. It's time to party, baby. Jason's gone.
Substitute teacher in.
Sub in. We're going to roll into one of those old-time VHS TVs, right? We're going to throw on some, like, show friends or, like, some National Geographic, and we're going to have us a damn good time. No Jason?
You remember the old TV VCR combos?
100%.
Okay, good.
It was like Bill Nye.
Yeah, a
Magic
lot
School
of
Bus.
Bill Nye. I'm shocked you remember that.
Deep pull.
There's no way Darcy had the role
Nye's
in...
not a deep pull.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe for your age.
It would be for a 23-year-old.
I'm shocked that you did not have the VHS roll-in TVs.
Yes, we did. I mean, it would have been like kindergarten through third, but it was very...
Oh, yeah, they roll in the classroom.
Yeah, I love the rolling TVs. They're
Yeah.
like strapped down on a...
Now it's all projectors or whatever. And you
Kids
put
these
anything
days
up
don't
there.
know. They don't know about
They
the
just
struggle.
watch their computer. It's crazy.
Boys, I went to school without computers most of my life.
We weren't allowed to have computers.
No, we didn't have
Well,
computers.
I
They weren't
know.
invented.
That's true.
God dang.
Well, they were invented. They just weren't. They were too big. They couldn't
Yeah,
fit in your
they
school.
were the size of a building.
They were the size of a building. You couldn't go to. Yeah, that's kind of what happened.
We did like I remember the school always had like a couple, and we'd go play Oregon Trail on it. And it was all MS DOS or whatever. Yeah.
Serious question when it comes to the Royals, because we've talked a lot of nonsense, even with Jason in general. Where do the Royals go? Like, they went in this year. I don't know if all in is the right terminology, but they at least went in. They had choices of bringing in bigger bats for some of their starting pitching. They did not do it. Does not look good for them now. Obviously, Cole Reagans, Chris Bubich, both those guys have been injured, which if you look at their track record, it'd be like saying, Rashee Rice, can you stay out of trouble? Well, what's the track record say? You can't be surprised when he gets in trouble. You shouldn't be. If Bubich or Reagans gets injured, you shouldn't be surprised. What have they shown you? They get injured. But you bought in on those guys, and so far the reward has not been that. The offense has yet to really put it together. We can talk about how they might be more talented than the record states they are. I would agree, which then leads to the point of, well, then who's getting fired? If this team, if we all agree they're more talented than the record, is that on Q? Is that on Zumwalt? Or, again, is this a roster construction issue, which would be JJ? I have a hard time blaming Sherman when they spent, was it over $150 million on the roster this year? I think they finally crossed that threshold. They have a fairly expensive roster, especially for a mid-market team, right? So it's hard for me to blame Sherman. It either falls on JJQ or the players.
I think it's the players. And look, I think they're better than their record. What are they, 20-30 now?
20-30.
I don't think this is a 30-20 team, though. Now, you could convince me 25-25. Yeah.
Sure.
It's a team that could swim around, right around 500. But I think they've had two massive prolonged slumps this year. And I think they are closer to that version of the team than the one we saw to end April and to begin May. That glorious 10-day stretch or 2 weeks or whatever we had there where they were playing really good baseball. I think they're way closer to what we're seeing now. And, I mean, look, there's moves that Q makes that I question and don't like, but it's nothing that's going to turn.
It's not a 10-win difference.
No, not through 50 games. No. I'd be surprised if there's many managers that make a 5-win difference over a season.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that.
And so I don't think it's on Q. I think the players are underperforming, but then also I wasn't like you were higher on this team than I was going. I wasn't high on these moves.
We weren't
Lane
Jason.
Thomas, and I thought you were big on.
I was Lane Thomas.
Collins and Jason.
I like Collins. I liked a lot of the moves they made at the margins when they couldn't get the big time bat. I was content with, and content's even maybe too minor. I was excited with the thought of they got better from the bottom end of the roster. With the Lane Thomas versus lefties, with Starling Marte even to an extent, and those guys have been fine, by the way.
Yeah,
They've
but this
been
wasn't.
fine.
It's not a Chiefs team of the 2020s to where like that. The top of the roster is great. That's the only improvement you can make is middle and bottom. Top of the roster wasn't fixed, and we're seeing that now after Bobby every single time through the order.
Well, and I think that brings up a good point of, to me, two names the Chiefs or the Royals counted on dramatically. Put Salvi to the side for a moment here, because that's also an issue when you count on a 36-year-old catcher who's played a lot of games to be your middle of the order bat. That is a team issue. Vinny had a career year last year, but I still brought up the names he was around. He's basically Alec Burleson. Really good player, but that's not necessarily who the Cardinals are saying, yeah, let's build around that guy. Yeah. Garcia had a career year last year, and they rewarded him with a very nice, lucrative contract. I think it was fair. I think it's fine. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. But he's OPSing .699 this year. That's a below-average player.
And it feels like he's way better than that just because of comparisons to the rest of the lineup. I'm surprised that he's under 700.
He's been struggling a lot. And I know it's funny to say he's under 700 at .699. Still, point remains, there's a 6 in front of it. When Noah Cameron had a 2, or ERA with a 2 in front of it, 2.99, still an ERA with a 2 in front of it, right? It still counts. Did the Royals get it wrong, counting on Garcia to be the stud that he was last year? Did the Royals get it wrong, counting on a 36-year-old catcher, Vinny coming off of a career year, to say, 3 of our top 4 are those guys? We can talk about the guys on the margin. We can talk about Lane Thomas and Marte and Isaac Collins all we want. But when 3 of your top 4 all have an OPS with a 6 in front of it, you're not going to win many ball games. And by the way, Bobby's still playing at an MVP level.
They got it wrong by not prioritizing bats this offseason, I think. How nice would it have been to have a Jarren Duran we saw him this past week.
I know he struggled this year, but again, it's the butterfly. Would he have struggled in Kansas City? Because clearly he likes the batter's eye.
Yeah, he clearly does. And some of those other guys out there. And so that's how they play. They play for the big inning for whatever reason, and they don't have big inning bats. They don't have guys that are going to hit for slug consistently. They don't have guys that are going to pop for a lot of home runs throughout the order. And so it's just kind of piecemealed together. It's just so hard to watch. And I brought this up with a buddy the other day. I don't think we've talked about it on the radio yet. And thankfully, this is a discussion we never had to have with Patrick Mahomes because the roster was set. You had a great tight end. You had a great, defensive lineman. You had,
but also a phenomenal quarterback can elevate an entire team more in the NFL than one player can in baseball.
But this what I'm about to get to happens all the time in football. The head coach is set. The ownership, GM, everything's in place, and they hit the ground running with Patrick Mahomes. I feel like, are we wasting Bobby Witt's talents here in Kansas City?
The answer so far would be yes.
Yes.
Besides,
is he going to be Mike Trout?
Was it his second year when they made the playoffs and they lost
the
third
year thing, right? 24, right?
But yeah, that was not a waste. That was also his best year, but it was not a waste.
Well, okay, that 1 year when they made the playoffs, that was good, but overall, that's just once.
Sure. I think so far the answer is obviously yes. The Royals have clearly...
By just not building around him.
Yes. Or at least investing in the wrong pieces. And it's frustrating to watch because you've seen what he's done, and you want to compare him to Mike Trout and Shohei because that's the caliber of guys. If you said who are the 3 best players in baseball, it's Shohei, Judge, and Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers are winning World Series. The Yankees, I love seeing them lose in the playoffs, but they're still constantly making the playoffs. The Royals did once. You're right. You don't want that Mike Trout situation. And again, I find myself, I'm not trying to carry water for an owner here, but he has, to an extent, opened up the pocketbooks more than I think a lot of other mid-market teams have done. By the way, they opened it up, Sherman did, to keep Bobby here.
Yeah.
It's not a Carlos Beltran situation where it's a trade. They kept him here. Now you have to try and build and reward Bobby Witt Jr. for staying here in Kansas City. The part that I find even more difficult is their minor league system. No one's close. No one's close. Yeah. And so it's not like it's Vinny's struggling. Call someone up. Oh, the pitchers are
Jensen
injured.
And Cags are here. The minor leagues are here.
They're here. And so the guys that were supposed to be close at this point, like a Gavin Cross, have hit in the 100s in the minors. No one's close. We can talk Blake Mitchell all we want. He's an A-ball. So do the Royals try and say, let's build for 2020, what's that, 9?
Yeah.
At that point, I mean, all these guys are an A-ball. 28, 29? Or do you use those guys? Do you use the guys who are still 3-ish years away and try and trade to get better this year or next year? Because there's two ways of doing it, but you have to do one. Because if you sit where you're at right now, you're left in no man's land. You're left as the 76ers when Andre Iguodala was their best player. You're going nowhere. You're going nowhere, and there's no real philosophy. If you're the Royals, if you're JJ, do you try and trade the guys in the minor league system who are 3+ years away to get better now / for next year because you think you're close, and that way you're not wasting Bobby Witt Jr.? Or do you do the opposite, fire sale now, anyone who has value, and just try and hope that those guys hit for 28 and 29?
Something needs to be done. It's a more transactional team. It's supposed to be now under JJ. And look, you're 50 games into this season, and it's not lost yet. But I mean, it's a huge chunk. The whole "hey, it's still early" excuse is not an excuse because it's not early.
You're nearly a third of the way done.
100%. You're nearly a third of the way done. I saw something the other day. It said number of teams per year in Major League Baseball with a batting average under 240. This century. So it started at 2000, and through I think 2011 the number was 0 every year. There was no team in baseball in those first 10 or 11 years that at the end of the year had a team batting average under 240. Right now in 2026 there were 15 and it's incrementally gotten more. Early in the 2010s it was 2 or 3 or 4. You get closer to 2020, okay, 7 or 8, and now it's basically half the league. I think the league average right now is 240. And the runs per game this year are 4.4 in Major League Baseball. In 2007 the runs per game were 4.8 per team. It's like, what isn't that the whole deal? You're trading off, putting the ball in play, hitting singles and doubles in favor of home runs, which would equate to more runs. And I just don't know that it's happening. It is obviously with some teams, but not across the board. And that's just been my biggest deal with the Royals is they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And they play like they are the Yankees playing in Yankee Stadium. And they're not. They're a Punch and Judy team playing in a big ballpark in Kansas City. And one run is huge for this team across, and they don't play like it. The situational hitting has been atrocious this year.
They do the big things bad and the little things worse.
The brightest thing you've ever said.
Thank you. Yeah. And but that's again, one run is huge for this team, but they can't get a bunt down.
No.
They can't.
They're tri-bunts.
They get thrown out on the base paths. Like, it's just a microcosm of this team. You're right. There's no identity, but then it trickles down farther of there's no identity of who they're even going to be in the next couple of years. Are they a team that's trying to go all in, or is it a team that needs to tear down, and look towards 28, 29? That's all they have to decide.
Yeah, you should decide, okay, what are those big pieces that you can swing for a couple big-time minor league bats? Maybe it's a big trade with a guy that's already in the major leagues. Who are those guys?
This is a team.
And did you miss on guys like Bubic and Reagans?
Their payroll, which I've pushed back on Reagans a lot. As when people say he's an ace, I go, that's great. He had one phenomenal year. It was phenomenal. And we've seen glimpses here and there. But it's hard to say he's an ace when there's been no consistency.
Yeah, I mean, would you take
how many guys
7 pitches in at bat to get through it, and you're striking out a lot of guys, but the longevity's not there. Just the amount of wear and tear on that arm is evident.
He's closer to Danny Duffy than Max Scherzer was, right?
Totally,
right, but that's where I feel like there's been a disconnect at times where, and maybe it's because it's a smaller market and we value these guys more, and because he did it one time, we think that's who he is. Versus maybe again, that's the outlier.
Yeah,
that might be the issue. This team values guys in their outlier year versus who they are. This team values Vinny of what he was last year versus what has he shown you. This team values Chris Bubic in 20 starts as an all-star versus what he's shown you. This team values Reagans as a top 3 Cy Young winner versus what has he shown you. They valued Michael Garcia as an 800 OPS third baseman versus a guy who's around a 720. Probably more or less where he fits in. It's just that I think is exactly where we are at with this team. Their payroll is 18th in Major League Baseball. They are just under $150 million is what I'm looking at on Spot Track. Again, different numbers. I'm sure people will have different websites. This is the easy one I'm looking at. They're in line, a little less so. 16 is Baltimore, 17 is Seattle, 18 is the Royals. Those are your peers as far as expectations probably going into this year, right? Probably pretty close. Baltimore's 21-29. They suck. Seattle's 24-27.
They've
been bad.
underachieved. I think they'll be better.
But you're ahead of teams.
Well, the 3 games is the sweep they took
That's
at
the
home
difference.
to
Yeah.
the Royals.
The issue is you're paying $20 million more, yet Milwaukee is 29-18.
Yeah.
Right? You have a higher payroll than the Twins, who, by the way, you were supposed to hammer them. They have a better record than you.
Did I see the other day, like, there were 16 teams above 500 in Major League Baseball, and only 4 were in the American League.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But the entire NL Central's way above 500.
Here are teams.
4 teams in the American League above it.
So the Royals are 18th in payroll. Here are teams behind them with a winning record. Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, St. Louis, who's trying to rebuild, and they're just playing great ball.
Yeah.
Sacktown, Sacramento, Vegas
The
Athletics.
Athletics.
Chicago,
Philadelphia, Kansas
6.
City Athletics.
Cleveland, 7. 7 teams.
7 of the 12.
7 to 12.
More than half those teams behind you have figured out a way to be 500 about a third of the way through the season.
And some of those teams were trying to rebuild. And this is, again, to my point of I have a hard time blaming John Sherman. Say what you will about the stadium. Say what you will about a lot of things. That's up to you. If you're saying he's not spending enough money, I will push back because, yeah, they're not top 10, but they're right around middle of the pack as what's their market size in baseball? Where's their revenue size? They're smaller than a lot of teams. They're spending more money than and getting way worse results. I have a hard time blaming Sherman. So I go back to, is this JJ? Is it Q? Is it the players? Obviously, the Angels are going to be a little bit of everything, but the Royals need to figure out this year where the issue lies, because you cannot go into 2027 next year with the exact same team.
I mean, I don't think this I don't believe in this team to make the playoffs. These current guys right now, even if you get Bubic and Reagan's back and they pitch well, I just don't. And I say the team, I just don't believe in the offense enough. So that lies on them, and I guess on JJ too.
Yeah, I guess the bullpen as well. They've been okay. They've been up and
They've
down.
been good when everything else has been bad. They've been bad when everything else has been good. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. It's like the Chiefs' offense and defense over the years.
Yeah. Let's take a break. Let's come back. I want to laugh before we leave. Laugh while we cry. Let's play some cuts on the other side of the zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, Darcy, cut it up, baby. You lit liquor.
What's up, Unc?
I am just dandy, Saran, and I don't know a time that I never don't need crack filling. So
Yeah, okay.
Whoa,
Man.
Matt Derrick. I want to bang for this.
No.
This is the pounding table.
What's wrong with
This
you?
is the pounding table.
Right there.
with that was pretty
Stay
impressive, I
clear
think.
from it.
Wow, Matt. Matt on here a couple of times. You're sucking on something. But, I mean, I'd never realized it was this large. If the guy wants you off, he's going to get you off.
You try to do it. Matt
That
doesn't.
that was not trying to get it. Those were mixed out of pocket. Those were no chance all in the same way. He loved the fact that it's a little more tight in there. I bet he did love that fact.
Tighter, I
Shove
believe,
it
is these.
in your mouth.
Uh-oh.
Well, one more time with that one. I hadn't heard Mick in a while.
Shove it in your mouth.
Mick.
What was I talking about
I
there?
feel like you were trying to
I was.
get on there now. You've been off for so
Too much-
long.
Too much
Stop
Sterling.
yanking it.
Yeah, we heard you
Just
for a second.
receive it. Eat my way out of it. See, I feel like these are out of context. 'Cause I feel like all these
Name
made
these
so-
after you.
All I know is last night I was getting a little nervous too because I was doing it, and
Bragger.
Congrats.
see, but it was innocuous. That could have been anything. I could have been doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Could be
Get
related.
hard.
That was all this week, Michael?
It was a tough week for the cuts. It really was.
I feel like I don't say anything out of pocket. All of that had a perfectly
Legit.
innocent
Totally.
meaning.
Yeah.
And then you guys just.
You are misunderstood 4 hours out of every day.
Yes.
You're just misunderstood.
But the other
You
22.
understood
20
rights.
I almost had 22.
22.
I do enjoy cutting it up and making it seem a lot worse than it actually is. But it's still pretty bad.
Hey, enjoy your 52-hour weekend, okay?
I can't wait, dude. I can't wait for all these hours. What am I going to do with it?
Man,
Probably golf.
probably so.
What are you going to do?
Move my son to Wichita. Move my son to Wichita.
I feel like a lot of
Both
people
those
on
guys used to
vacation.
coach him, by the way, at high school, so that's why.
Did they
brought
like
it.
your son or no?